getting at with the book script? Spit that shit out, man!
Do you want to form an alliance with me?
Absolutely, I do. Excited.
Go outside, nerd. Get out. Go.
Oh my God, I did not think he was going to do that. That scared me. That actually scared me a little bit.
It's called Two Brothers. Two Brothers. It's just called Two Brothers.
And
Friend?
oh boy, is this going to be a good episode of Two Brothers and
Friend?
exactly. Good. It's getting better every time, Josh. It's getting better every time.
I try my best. I just have one simple task.
Yeah, that's it for the intro.
Shit.
It's Two Brothers, and we have Josh on the podcast again, and we're very excited to do this episode. In a lot of ways, it's been a long time coming for me and Edgar to discuss not the entire series. We'll touch on most of them, but it's our retrospective of the Metal Gear Solid series.
Whoa, wait. We're not here to talk about X-Men 97?
We can talk about that if you want to touch on it. I don't know if it was a joke, but we could talk about it.
It was a joke, but did you guys actually watch it?
We're on episode 2 because we just resubscribed to Disney Plus.
Wait until you watch, I think, episode 4. Oof.
Shit gets good, right? Or what happens?
Have you watched Game of Thrones? No?
Yeah, we're familiar.
Red Wedding?
Oh shit. That's it. You don't have to say no more.
Just there is a Red Wedding episode.
God damn.
And it's up there. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Dude, X-Men 97. We're gonna keep watching
all
it.
tonight, and I'll be here with you guys because I'm spending the night,
we
baby.
got the popcorn ready. We got everything. Before we get into the retrospective, again on the top of the show, we gotta ask our fans, our friends, and family, whatever who listens to the podcast, please share the podcast, the episodes. That's what will help us to reach audiences. If you like this, share it with your friends. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when new episodes come out. You can follow us at It's Called Two Bros on Instagram. We're not fucking with Facebook no more. Okay? That's too much for me to handle, okay, guys? But you can follow us on Instagram. We'll be on TikTok eventually and on YouTube. Listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you don't, we will find you and CQC your ass.
Oh, there you go. That's a great thinking, Josh. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
On my feet, baby.
But yeah, look, and I want to preface this before we get into the retrospective. Look, there's millions of retrospectives of the Metal Gear Solid series that you can go watch on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So you're probably thinking, what am I going to get out of this one? Look, we're not sophisticated people. Not going to break down the story and everything like that. We're just going to share our opinions and why we love the series so much, and hopefully provide some insight as to why the series is so impactful, but also its shortcomings. Because this wouldn't be a retrospective without talking about some of the critiques, some of the negatives of the game. Because it isn't. I mean, it's a flawed masterpiece. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely. And let's just be honest. Who's gonna sit here and actually explain the storyline when nobody even knows what's fucking going on, right?
Right. So we're not gonna be explaining the themes, the symbolism. There's plenty of better YouTubers and people out there who can do that for you. But we're just going to be talking about our love for Metal Gear, and I think it starts where we all kind of got into it, right, Josh? So let's talk about how we got into the series. Is that a fair kind
Absolutely.
of intro into the retrospective?
I love it.
You go ahead, Josh.
On the spot. I feel like you always make me go first.
Let's let you want.
Have Edgar go
you're on
first.
the phone right now. You go.
Yeah, get the fuck off your phone.
Let's start with you first. Getting into the Metal Gear series, because I know you and I got into it kind of at the same time. But talk about it. What you getting into it? The first game, your introduction to it.
Back in 1998. Nice.
That's
Maybe, yeah, you're right. The weird, you already know this, dude. When you showed me that Nicky Jackie video,
The Pizza Hut demo disc.
that's how I got introduced.
That's how we got into
Oh my
Metal Gear.
God. I fucking just remembered that.
Yeah.
That is how we got into Metal Gear Solid.
I would sneak in this room. This used to be our brother's, older brother, room.
Inherited
I would
to
sneak
me,
in
huh?
and play his PlayStation, and I popped in the demo one, and
Metal Gear.
I clicked on Metal Gear, and
The rest is history.
Yeah,
dude.
basically.
Honestly, the rest is history.
dude,
Because
for a demo, that shit was long.
it was long. It let you play from the beginning all the way to the point where DARPA Chief gets a heart attack.
I think, right? Or you meet Merle.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
one of those two.
One of those two.
It's a lengthy fucking demo.
Which says a lot about the man himself,
Yeah.
Kojima. Even his fucking demos are long, too.
Yeah.
You can even consider Ground Zeroes a demo to 5, and then he made you pay $40 for it.
I think it was third.
No, it was 30 for the previous gen.
Oh,
which was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
PS3,
yeah, yeah,
but for
yeah,
PS4 you paid 40.
That shit wasn't even that long though,
No, you can beat it like in an hour.
or less.
But that's how rabid the fucking fan base is, dude.
Yeah.
That they will eat that shit up. Even Metal Gear Survive, which is look, I don't know if my friend listens to this podcast. I have a friend named Alan. He's a rabid fan of Metal Gear, so much so that he bought Metal Gear Survive. Do you know Metal Gear Survive, Josh?
I will never play that game.
For good reason. He said he wouldn't play that game because it is such a bastardization of the fucking Metal Gear franchise. But there's fans who will go out and buy that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that game, like, for you to get multiple save slots, you had to purchase DLC for it?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I think it was like $5 a piece for each save slot. Fuck off, dude. Fuck off with
well,
that.
actually, that's how I got introduced. I think you're the same way, right?
Yeah, that's how I got into the game. And then I remember our brothers getting it, and just like even the case, the packaging for Metal Gear Solid itself, such a fucking iconic cover. It's just white.
That's what I was about to say. So
it
simple
has the
of a cover and
the name of the game. It's so fucking good, dude. It's such a good. I know Josh is itching. Go ahead and give the because that's our introduction to Metal Gear was through the demo disc. Did you remember playing through the demo disc?
I did not play the demo.
But you were aware of it.
I'm aware of it. I actually was introduced to Metal Gear a little bit later. I think it was out for a couple months. How I was introduced to it was actually I got suspended from school for a week. I don't know if they do that anymore in school. Like if you got in trouble, I got into a fight, they suspend you for 5 days. It's pretty much a vacation. We'll just call it what it is.
It's a blessing in disguise.
It's a blessing in disguise. And my buddy was like, "Hey, you got anything to do? Why don't you just play this game?" And it was Metal Gear Solid.
What a friend, huh? He gave you the fucking greatest game of all time.
And I played that shit out of that game, and I beat it literally in 7 days.
So how old were you when you played it?
It was 8th grade.
It was 8th grade?
98.
So
Right when what year were you guys born?
95. I was 95 years. He's 92.
Yeah. So I was 8th grade. Suspended from school.
I know.
Thank you so much.
I know we're gonna get into it, but like I'm just curious when you played it for the first time and you got to that part where they handed you that compact disc, like the code or whatever is on the back of the CD case. Did it click with you that you had to look?
No, dude. I had to call my friend and ask him, like,
Really?
where the fuck do I get this? Where's
Did it
the
blow your
compact?
mind?
And he's like, dude, just look at the back of the cover. Just look at the back of the CD.
Oh
There's
my God.
Meryl's code. I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
But did you also think at the same time this is the greatest game?
Fuck yeah,
all
dude.
time.
Everything about it is so unique and great. And obviously when we break it down and go through every game.
We're in it. Should we get into? Oh no, wait. Before we get into Solid, I'm getting ahead of myself. Josh did have, I don't know if you'd call it the privilege, because you did play through the NES versions of Metal Gear. Not the whole way through, you said.
No, absolutely
But
not.
it is important that we do cover the NES versions. Or the NES, not the NES version, sorry, the NES games of Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Because that's where Kojima got his start, was doing Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
And Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which is what fans widely consider as the true sequel not Snake's Revenge.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that shit.
No, we're not talking about it here. But you played through it. What are your thoughts on the NES?
Oh man,
Metal Gear
it
games?
is difficult. It's unique for. I don't think there's any Nintendo game that comes close to it, and then it's also stressful and hard as fuck. Like I played a big bulk of it, and what really exhausted me about this game was, obviously your Gray Fox goes on a mission, gets captured, and Foxhound sends out a rookie to go look for him, of all people.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going out to rescue Gray Fox. And as you're going through this mission and you're going room to room, you have to also save hostages as well. And if you miss a hostage, pretty much the hostages will always give you clues and where you need to go and what you need to do next. So if you miss a hostage,
you miss a vital piece of information.
yeah, and they'll tell you that you need like a gas mask, right, to get through this room that's coming up soon. And you get to this room, you don't have the gas mask. You now have to probably you backtrack, and it
like
takes
5 different rooms or whatever.
I want to say 20 different
Jesus,
rooms,
man.
and you have to not get caught.
Good lord, dude. But there is would you say there's a certain charm to those NES games?
Absolutely. Especially playing Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation, and when they talk a lot about this is what Snake did in his previous missions.
Yeah.
This is why he's a legend. And then you play the NES, you're just like, holy crap! Oh my god, this is so.
You're starting to see the foundation being built.
Yes.
For what will eventually lead up to the PlayStation 1
Absolutely
Metal Gear Solid game, which is, I mean, I always knew that those games existed, but to know, because I think it was you who told me that, like, dude, these games are canon to the series too.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought Metal Gear Solid was just like a reimagining of the other ones, which is sort of, but it does kind of remember those games.
Absolutely. There's a lot of similarities in the other games, right? So like in Metal Gear Solid, when you have to go through that room when the floor has electricity, we just saw a video on it a little bit ago, right? You have to get to that missile and then control it and then blow up a box. You have to do that in a scene in the original Metal Gear game for Nintendo.
See, I didn't know about that. That's so cool, dude. Like, now, seeing that you played through it, obviously you didn't finish it, but would you recommend newcomers to try it?
I would. I would say don't play it first. And if you actually read history on the first Metal Gear games, they got like good reviews, a lot of love, but a lot of people didn't finish it because it was a very difficult game to play.
Yeah. As was with a bunch of NES games at the time, especially from Konami. I mean, they're notorious for Contra, one of the most difficult video games of all time. So, they got that reputation of making some pretty hard.
But it's so unique too. But once you get caught, I will tell you one of the biggest frustrations about it is once you get caught, you are running for your life, and there is a 90% chance that you are dead. Yeah, you dead. Yeah, you are not gonna survive, and the you pretty much have to, like, obviously playing it on the PlayStation, say you can save. Woo, whoop-de-doo. I don't think in the Nintendo, I think you couldn't.
Damn.
And back in the day, if you played a Nintendo game, the checkpoint was actually a password that the game gave you.
Yeah, that is true.
Which is obviously
they still
annoying
kind of
as
carried
fuck.
that in the PlayStation era a little bit and stuff. But, the NES games are, at least when you told me about it, I was like, God damn, I didn't know that they were important to the mainline games that came after it.
Oh, absolutely, and we just learned. Spoiler, right? Those of you that played Metal Gear 5, Venom Snake actually is the villain.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like
original.
reverse canon. Like, it's not until later that people realize, oh, that big boss that was in the NES game, that's actually Venom Snake.
Yeah, and a lot of people were frustrated when Metal Gear 5 came out because, excuse me, lost my train of thought. A lot of people got frustrated. Excuse me. A lot of people got frustrated because you kill Big Boss. Actually, spoiler.
Yeah.
At the end of Metal Gear.
Spoiler for all the games,
because
but-
Snake goes on this mission,
Uh-huh.
and who is he talking on the other side in his earpiece? It's Big Boss.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going through this game, and who is the main villain? Big Boss.
Yeah.
Who do you kill? Big Boss.
And somehow he still comes back.
He's in the
every
second
fucking
one.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and but it's actually not the original Big Boss. It's actually
Venom Snake.
Venom Snake.
But let's not give Kojima too much credit. I don't think he thought that one through.
No.
I think it's not until after the fact. He's like, oh yeah, that one that's actually from two. Like, no, come on, Kojima, you're not that. You're not that. What do you call it? Prophetic or whatever that word is. Like you were able to like see all this shit happen. But we'll get to Kojima in a second too. Or unless should we talk about the creator himself now? Or you guys want to save that?
I guess a brief summary of the first new Nintendo games, right? Because
Okay,
it leads up to and I'll just spitball here a little bit. You know, the first one is, you know, Snake goes on a mission. He's going to save Gray Fox, stops Metal Gear, fights Big Boss, wins. Second one, Gray Fox has gone rogue because this plays a big part in Metal Gear Solid. You have to go in, and Gray Fox is actually your best friend. And who do you have to fight? Gray Fox. Who do you have to kill? Gray Fox.
Yeah.
You know, and then ultimately you have to stop Metal Gear again. And who's the villain again? Main villain behind the scenes, Mr. Big Boss.
Yeah, Big Boss.
You know, so that is kind of the first two games in a nutshell, just to be extremely brief, right? You know, but yeah, let's not elaborate too much on those because really, who's gonna play those?
And look, I will say this. Look, we should have mentioned this. Spoilers for all of the games. If you haven't played Metal Gear games, we're gonna be spoiling them, and we might be mentioning characters that you have no idea who they are. Who the fuck who's Gray Fox? Who's Liquid Snake? Who's any of these characters? Dude, you need a glossary to fucking like understand who is this character, what fucking game did he appear on and shit. So just to let you guys know, you might be hearing some jargon from us, but it's, trust me, if you play the games, you'll understand. Which is, we recommend you guys play it for sure. You know, before we continue talking about it, if you've never played Metal Gear, like any of them, dude, now's your chance to dive in. Especially now that there's gonna be a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 in the not too distant future. You know, you guys gotta jump on the fucking train, you know. But let's should we discuss the first game then? The PlayStation 1.
Ooh, let's go back to your original question though. Kojima.
About Kojima?
Yeah.
Let's get into the man, the myth, the legend himself, Hideo Kojima. This guy, so he didn't want to be a game developer, right? Like a game designer. He said he wanted to be like a filmmaker at first.
Yeah.
Makes complete fucking sense when you play the games. What are your thoughts on Hideo Kojima, Eder? Is he a genius? Is he? Do people praise him too much? Is there some truth to it?
I would say a little bit of both.
Yeah, I do agree.
I don't know, like his first project after Metal Gear was like,
Death Stranding, right?
Death Stranding. It wasn't for. I guess, like you said, that's when everyone's still like, yeah, it was still a good game.
Yeah, guys, let's. Which I will say, I support his vision of Death Stranding. I think that Sony gave him all like just unlimited freedom to make whatever the fuck he wanted, and it shows. It shows. But correct me if I'm wrong, dude. He's still the only game director that still says like a Hideo Kojima game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was the first one to like do that.
What I just noticed, he's
a John Carpenter game.
What?
He's a John Carpenter game. I was gonna say.
No, I was gonna mention. I think he's a John Carpenter fan.
Dude, come on.
Because if you notice,
Snake.
Not only that, but like John Carpenter does that with all his movies. John Carpenter presents, this and
film,
that.
Yeah.
So I think that's where he gets it from.
And George Miller.
Miller.
He said before that George Miller is like one of his favorite. I think It's funny. Recently, I read that he had a quote on a book that is supposed to be about Mad Max, and his quote said that I'm paraphrasing that George Miller is God, and therefore this book is the Bible. It's like, dude, the fact he fucking worships George Miller. For people who don't know, he's the director of the Mad Max. Yeah, he's well known for doing the Mad Max movies. But yeah, Hideo Kojima is the only person that comes to mind that like everyone knows in the game industry for being such a pioneer for video games. Josh and I have discussed this before we did the retrospective. He's the first like director to really introduce kind of like the cutscenes in video games, making it like much more cinematic in the games. What are your thoughts on that? Like his the way he presents games, the way he like puts it out there.
He's very good at advertising. He's very good at trolling the right way. You know, I talked about that in the other podcast. He's very smart. One thing that I will say that I love and respect about him is, you know, a lot of games today, they're like movies. You know, there's cinematic cutscenes that are just so freaking amazing that to the point where we're probably going to see him in the Oscars. Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hideo Kojima is the first like one to be nominated like for I don't know.
So I'm gonna challenge that one a little bit. Okay.
Is this the question that's gonna stir the pot?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
So let me ask you this. Besides, well, he put, going back to what I was talking about too, he kind of put like cinematography, acting, cutscenes on the map
for video games.
And and a lot of these games that do that now, I feel like they're very dumbed down and lazy. Metal Gear is not. Metal Gear is, in all honesty, a very stressful game to play because you have to do things a very specific way.
Absolutely correct.
Espionage, you know. Yeah. So I love and respect that, but that's also why it's such a boatload of gaming that can be overwhelming.
Bloated, almost like
very bloated.
Just so much to
yeah, you know, and but you know, as much love as we give Kojima, outside of Metal Gear, what has this man really done?
I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say Castlevania, right? Lords of Shadow. Well, he's not really well known for that, though. Not a lot of people will immediately think Castlevania.
Sad.
Huh?
It's fucking sad that no one appreciates what he did to that. He kind of gave it new life to the Castlevania series.
No, and
but I don't know. Josh kind of makes a good point. Like Castlevania, yeah, he's had a hand in it, and it is a good game. There's no like I don't know if you played that one. It is a good game, and it does have a Kojima like I don't know some flair to it. But outside of that, dude, I don't know. Death Stranding is not.
Yeah, what has he done after?
He has a
Metal
podcast,
Gear.
okay?
Yeah, they release it once every fucking year, dude. Like one episode. You think we don't consume the episode?
No, it's besides that, I'm trying to think.
If anybody has milked Metal Gear, it is Kojima.
I think if he was still with Konami, he would still continue doing crazy shit with it.
But I will blame Konami for that though, because I think Kojima was like, "I'm done after this one," and it was like, "No, make another one," and everyone's like, "Oh no, he's done with it," and then Kojima's like, "All right, I'm come back, I'll make another one." But you could tell at some point he was kind of like ready to move on, and but either fans wanted another one or Konami's like, dude, this shit's selling like hotcakes, keep making them. I think he just continued to evolve the series, continued to make them. But yeah, dude, like his first effort outside of Metal Gear, which is Death Stranding, kind of divisive.
It was not. I would not play it.
I wouldn't either. It's
And I guarantee that the sequel will not be that good either.
really.
I bet.
It is going to be an acquired taste, I think, for sure. The first and the second one. What?
He's a good looking man. I don't blame him. Come on.
But he does have OD, the upcoming horror game that he's collaborating with Jordan Peele. But we don't know anything outside of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, but does that? I don't think that really like makes him like lesser of a director just because he's only ever made Metal Gear games. I don't know. I feel like there's still no one that does it like he does.
Sure,
You know what I
sure. I think that he man, I love Metal Gear series. I've loved what he's done with them, but if you're gonna impress me, bring something in outside of Metal Gear that isn't Metal Gear, and then maybe it would have been Silent Hill, maybe.
Yeah,
But
it
then
could've been.
also Silent Hill would have been not as good. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll never know. That's the. Oh man.
Yeah.
Who Hideo Kojima?
Even like Police Knot
Mm-hmm.
didn't even like do that well
Oh shit!
until Metal Gear came out.
He's also doing another espionage game. I forget what it's called, and he says like, oh, it's gonna be the first immersive cinematic, like movie type video game. And it's like
It's probably gonna be Metal Gear.
it's just Metal Gear, but not Metal Gear. And I think he's doing it. You want to know my theory? He announced that game almost like 4 or 5 months after Konami was like, we're redoing the Metal Gear games, and I think Hideo Kojima was like, fuck that, I'm gonna make my own espionage game again. So I don't know, that's like my theory. But
So I also, going back to that topic about him being a director and like going into movies, I read an article a long time ago. I don't know if you guys like heard about this, but one of the reasons that he's never gone into movies is I heard that he was not actually good at it.
No, yeah.
He failed miserably.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
And he got a lot of, and this came out like when he left Konami, and they were like, oh, he should do movies and things like this, and then somebody just came out and was like, nope, he is not fit to do movies, and this is why. And I don't remember like why, but there were just a lot of things that he just didn't have it
at the time. I would say, no, like directing. Like if he would do one now, I think he would do great.
I don't think so.
No,
just because I feel like because video game offers you an advantage, right? To not have to be necessarily in front of the camera actually directing it. There's tricks that you can do, like Metal Gear Solid 5 has that unbroken shots that's throughout the game. That I don't know, maybe I'm just sounding like a fucking moron, which could be the case, but I feel like that's much more harder to do in actual like filmmaking. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't think I agree with Josh on this one. If he actually made a movie, I don't know if it would look good. Don't know if it would be good.
And you have to also keep in mind he's also the only video game creator that throws his name out there.
Yep.
So when I talk about like him milking the Metal Gear games, he like the biggest directors out there, he always has to, and that's smart. That's why I mean also that he's great at marketing and putting himself out there in his games as well. Is these were such great games. And because he was probably like, think of another director that really throws their name out there like on these great games,
not really.
Not really. Not as much as.
Not like how he says it. Like,
Yeah, like it's like.
Oh, there is one actually. You go ahead.
no, like okay, maybe not a director, probably a producer for a movie. I can see that. Like if he teamed up with like Guillermo del Toro or, like one of those big action directors.
Another one that I look, his catalog does not match Hideo Kojima's, but he is one that is known to put his name out there. And I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a Suda51.
Sounds familiar, but
He does Killer 7. He did the No More Heroes video games. He's done Killer is Dead. He's done some of the I don't know if he directed them, but like Fatal Frame. But he's one that's known for I think even his company's called Suda51. So it's like he's also another one. Like I think he's not a director, but he's a designer and writer that's also known to put his name out there. But not as reputable as Hideo Kojima. I will agree with you on that for sure. You know, but there's a reason why we're talking about these games. You know,
True,
for as
true.
much as we criticize Kojima today on this podcast, there's a reason why we're doing a retrospective, because these games they mean so much to us. They mean so much, obviously, to the game community, and a big part of it is Hideo Kojima. you
yeah,
know?
I can't argue that.
Yeah.
I can't. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just I hope he brings out something
Like good.
good to prove me wrong.
But you know what? I don't know if we're getting too off topic, but I do want to. You and I spoke about this before about like hitting your peak. Do you think Hideo Kojima is reaching that point?
I think that's a great question, and it
Do you
feels
think-
like that.
Do you think that Death Stranding was that
So-
signal?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think he hit his peak. I think he's potentially hitting his peak.
Okay. Are we getting,
Edgar's
are we
getting
ruffling your
frustrated over
feathers?
here, guys.
But it is an interesting thought, right? That like he may have, because he's only made Death Stranding. We have not yet seen Death Stranding 2. It could prove us wrong. I don't know if it'll prove Josh wrong. I think his mind is set. He doesn't like Death Stranding. Me, I'm a mixed bag with it, but we've yet to see if like he still got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I just got this thought. What, maybe why Death Stranding didn't come out as well, or whatever he wanted, or whatever it is. How about we just talked about, he wasn't great in doing filmmaking, and that kind of discouraged him. What happened after he got fired from Konami and lawsuits? We don't know yet, right? All that shit behind the scenes. It probably affected him.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a
Even
good
though
point.
Sony's here's all this fucking money. He's like, shit, I don't know what to do.
The pressures of
the pressure and-
of coming out with something, and
And he was like, fuck, I don't know, you know.
You make a good point. I think that's a good point to make.
And I think, even though I didn't like Death Stranding 2, oh shit, you're
oh,
right.
but he will. We're looking to
Death
the
Stranding
future.
1, I think this one might be a little what he wanted to work on. The real Death. Yes. Guys. The last one, was it? It's just an.
That's I don't know.
I think
we're getting off topic, but he was given creative control.
Yeah.
Pretty much when what was it, Sony that picked him up?
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh my god, we got to have this guy. Look what he's done for us through
Mm-hmm.
Metal Gear. Blah blah blah. Do whatever you want.
But
I do feel like I agree with you. There is the pressure.
I think that was the case.
I think pressure combined with him wanting to do so much and cramming it in one video game, knowing full well that it probably he wouldn't reach that full vision, because he had Norman Reedus, he had all these big name actors in it. This is probably the first time that he worked with big name actors, because
I think he was kind of like Neil Druckmann did in The Last of Us. I think he really sat down as a director for the first time. Not like when Konami, I think he was just behind the scenes, I want that, and okay. And now it's now that he had his own company and all this, oh shit, all this pressure, and that's what I think what happened.
So going back to saying that he's maybe a little overrated, what has he done? Did he really have full say of Metal Gear series? I wonder. Maybe it was also the people that were under him, the support that he had to make Metal Gear so successful, and then going to Death Stranding, he didn't have those people anymore.
well, he did take the majority of his team from it.
Okay.
But that's still it is a different landscape
Yeah.
from Konami, right? I think because he was limited, he had to work within the constraints of Konami and like what to do and stuff like that. He did have that story and everything. Yeah, he was used to the. Yeah, you didn't know what to do, and then with Death Stranding,
No structure.
no structure. Yeah, yeah, right, yeah. God damn, it all comes full circle.
Right? We had a long conversation
right,
about
yeah,
structure
yeah.
before this.
So yeah, maybe that's what he needed with and maybe he has it now. Who knows?
Hopefully,
we've yet
hopefully.
to see. But I think Josh and I are on the same page when we say that, at least as it stands now, he may have hit his peak. I think he's much more interested in like cinema than he is in video games, but because he knows video games, he's trying to be a filmmaker. He's trying to apply that to the world of video games, and
Which can be a downfall.
could be.
I will also say one issue I have with him that is a flaw of his and why he's potentially peaking is it takes him forever to come out with a video game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
too fucking long.
Yep.
And
I agree. Death Stranding was supposed to be.
it was pushed back several times, was it not?
Yeah, but during the pandemic, he was like, "Oh shit, I kind of made a video game that reflects what's going on in the times." And I don't know. I feel like he took a lot of time, which it's fine to give a creator enough time to think of like ideas and like what to do, but there is such a thing as like taking too much time.
That's why people lose interest too.
Yeah, over preparing and like, yeah. So, but again, going back to this retrospective, maybe this was lightning in the bottle when it comes to these games, and he just managed to do so well with it. But there is a reason why we're talking about Metal Gear today.
Truth.
Because they are fucking fantastic games. So, unless we have more to say about Kojima, should we start talking about the mainline video games now? Should we get into it?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get into Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. God damn, dude. This fucking game. What a good fucking game. Still holds up, man.
Yes.
Still fucking
Yes.
holds up. Yes, there are some frustrating parts. That's to be expected with some of these games. But all in all, dude, the pacing of Metal Gear Solid 1. It like you played it recently, right?
I did.
Did you breeze right through it?
It was so, I don't want to say it was easy, but it was not as stressful as the other ones.
Is it because you played it on easy, dude?
Yes, I played it on easy.
Me too, dude. I did also play on easy. I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to like Metal Gear Solid 3. But yeah, I feel like again the pacing is fantastic. The cutscenes are great. The voice acting is top notch.
That and for a PlayStation 1 game, we're talking about voice acting.
Dude. Polygonal, like you can still see the like. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching, but like you can still feel that emotion.
Yep.
Even with these fucking like polygonal characters with not as much resolution and shit like that. God, and we're listening to it now. The music, iconic fucking music. When you get caught, when you're sneaking around. It is so fun. The codec sounds like everything about this game is iconic, dude.
Oh, absolutely. Starting out from going underwater,
Yeah.
and
I can already hear the fucking music in my head.
The intro,
Right.
and it's not even like the intro of the game. It's literally when you turn on the system. And it's the introduction of the game, and it's like a conversation between Snake and the Colonel, and when you finally play it, you show up on Shadow Moses.
Shadow Moses, yep.
And you hear Liquid Snake talking in the background. Wait for him. I know he's coming. God, man. And you're wearing the mask.
Yeah.
And then you're doing your first little sneaking around.
Getting used to the controls. All that stuff, you're getting used to the top-down view. Do you prefer that, or when they started to move towards how?
Oh man, the top-down was like very simple in my opinion. But as the graphics got better, the third person
Or I guess like not over the shoulder, but it's third person view instead of the.
I did prefer that a lot more. Because I started on actually 3, right?
Yeah.
No, 2 was like I felt like
2 still had a bit of the top down.
Yeah.
No, most of it was. Yeah, most of it was. Yeah, it wasn't until you like got into cover, it switched into or when you like got into first person mode or whatever.
And the thing that I love about it too is even though it's a solo mission, all the characters that were in the codec, you felt for them and you respected them, and they were great characters. You know, the information that each and every one of them would give you. You know, Master Miller, Naomi, Mei Ling, right? Natasha. Cardboard box.
The cardboard box, man. You were telling me that's actually in
that's
the
in
NES
the NES games.
Yeah,
as well.
That's
how iconic that is. The villains all played like a big part, and you felt for the villains. And when you killed them, you had sympathy and love for them too, because you kind of like they would explain where they would come from and all their hate and stuff. Oh man. I'm sorry. I could talk about this for forever. Edgar, take it.
Yeah, I think now looking back at it, like for the time back in the late '90s, it's a fucking head of its time for a fucking game.
Absolutely.
Like with every little detail, even like I was gonna say like, fuck, I can go on and on with that, but. You put a lot of detail into that game, you know? Like you said, characters, fucking backstory. To this day, like, all these characters I still remember. I don't remember fucking, like, yesterday or some shit, you know? That's how memorable these characters are. Damn, I just wish I played Twin Snakes, though.
Twin Snakes, Twin Snakes is also...
for the GameCube.
I keep forgetting that one does exist, and it is a solid, no pun intended, like reimagining for the GameCube. I was watching earlier. I have to give credit to the YouTuber Lemino. I don't know where he got it from, but you know, like the title of Metal Gear Solid is reference to like it being the first game that uses like the 3D that is in 3D, and like Solid is. And like basically means like 3D and shit like that. Like, it's just so clever that he had that in mind. You know what I'm saying? Like you were talking about the villains, dude, the boss fights in this game.
So smart.
Never been done before at the time. Like the fact that you would like, for example, one of the most iconic boss fights. You already know what I'm talking about. Psycho Mantis.
Yep.
Right? We'll get to him first, but Psycho Mantis is like the first like boss fight where you broke the fourth wall.
Yep.
You know? Where like it would read your memory card, it would blow the fucking your brain when you were like a little kid playing it and shit. Or how you would like, put the controller down and I'll fucking show you my powers and shit. And I was like, it's so silly, but it was like, this is fucking amazing, dude. It is so fucking cool, and it's such a unique boss fight that like every boss fight had it. Like you would go in your codec and they'll tell you, Snake, he's fucking like weak to this shit, or like you do that, or if you go into first person mode you can actually like, it's just like, oh my god, so clever. And
well, don't forget you have to put controller slot 1 in the slot 2 in order to beat him.
Yep, which is, oh my god, dude, still to this day has not been replicated.
You know I will say one big, just recently playing that game, one big disappointment is when you can't figure something out and you're trying so hard to fucking figure it out, and then you finally like get the codec message and they're like, Josh, Snake, we figured it out, you need to do this. That is like the biggest disappointment, I will tell you. You're like, I have to figure this out before I actually get it from Campbell.
No,
fuck.
Dude, I did that with 2. Like I was trying to figure it out. But by 3, as soon as the boss fight started, like, all right, hitting the codec, tell me what I'm supposed to do, because I'm not fucking dealing with this shit. But yeah, it gets more clever as the games go on. Like the methods to defeat the bosses, and we were talking about like switching it to controller port 2, and like hasn't been done before. It can't be done before. How weird is that with the technology we have
He has
with
patent on
video
that.
games? Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
He might as well. It hasn't been fucking done.
You want to do it? Pay Kojima.
But it's like you can't. They can't break the fourth wall like that in an Xbox Series X game or a PlayStation 5 game. It's all very run of the mill. Like Spider-Man 2, the boss fights, very easy where you're supposed to punch them. Very easy what the weak points are. Sometimes the characters will tell you as you're fighting them. But Metal Gear games have the distinct advantage of like, here's a boss fight. First off, here's a cool ass intro to the boss fight.
Yep.
Then here's the boss fight. There you go. You're off on your own. You got your tools. Put 2 and 2 together. Figure it out.
Sorry, doesn't Psycho Mantis also like possesses Merle too?
Yeah. Yep.
Like I don't remember a lot. You know, it's been a while since I played it, but ain't there's another one? It's like you have to do a specific way to defeat Sniper Wolf too. Is there? No, or I'm just.
Well,
No, yeah. I think before entering this like area, there's like it's snowed, like there's snow on the ground, and you have to walk a specific way because there's mines. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. You go in that hall, and then she's like, "Wait a minute, before we go," because they talk about how there is the mines, and then your map is kind of like fuzzed out because of the sensors messed up, and then she starts like walking a specific way.
Yes, yeah.
And then when
yeah.
Snake's like, "How did you know?" and she was like, "I was in Psycho Mantis' mind. I remember where the, and it was just so great." And then she gets shot.
Yeah.
By Sniper Wolf. Yeah.
See, they just thought shit like that, dude.
I will say, like, going back to that scene too, and I just thought of this, and what I loved about Snake is he's like this mercenary, this soldier, right?
Yeah.
It's all about war, it's all about killing.
Yeah.
And he has a soft spot. You know, and it's like, when Meryl is possessed, he can take her out. Like, you can have the option of killing her, but he doesn't. He saves her, knocks her out, and then when she gets shot, he's stressed about, he's like, where is the sniper? Bring me the sniper.
Yeah.
And then he does it, right? Because he's in love with Sniper Wolf. And now you have to stress and go back and find it yourself. Come back and she's
Just
gone.
like the NES games, right? You gotta go.
Yeah,
fucking back and shit.
exactly. It's like,
God, dude, it's.
But I will also say, thinking about, like, we don't think Kojima planned a lot of this. I think maybe in some degree he did. And I think I talked to you about this a while back. Playing Metal Gear Solid again.
Yeah.
Liquid talks about how there's no point about their birth because they were inferior.
Yeah. And that they have like an expiration date.
They have an expiration date, and that their genes are expected to expire soon. And it's hinting to Metal Gear 4 when he's aging. And you're just like, and I remember when I heard that, I just took a step back and I was like, oh my God.
You put 2 and 2 together and it's like you're fucking, oh my God. Yeah, it's Metal Gear Solid 1, such a fantastic fucking game. And another recurring, like, I don't know, theme of these games is the betrayal. Right, the twists, the twists upon twists and shit like that. The fact that Miller has been Liquid Snake the whole time, right?
Which no one saw coming.
Fuck, man. Do you remember that there when you get in the codec, Miller like reveals himself as Liquid Snake for the first time?
Which is crazy because playing it again, you're like, that's fucking Liquid Snake. That's his voice.
Yeah.
How did it, like, holy
you
shit?
You just like, oh my God, it's so fucking good, man. It's. Yeah, and it continues on with the games, like all these characters. You don't know what their real motivations are, the hidden
Naomi.
agendas, with Ocelot too. In Metal Gear Solid 3, he reveals himself as like a quadruple agent or something like that. I was when I was watching the end credit scene, there's like a moment, I know I'm skipping to 3, but like Ocelot's talking to someone and he's like, oh yeah, and the other people didn't know that I was also double crossing them, so I was quadruple crossing. Like, oh my God, dude. But there's so many of that shit in this game. It's
don't know who to trust.
It's crazy, dude.
And going back to Cyborg Ninja,
right?
Hurt me.
What is that your favorite boss fight in Metal Gear Solid?
It's that or Psycho Mantis.
Right.
Well,
dude.
I think it's Cyborg Ninja first, right? Then it's like later on.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, like the introduction to him is like you go into this hall. Oh, you know, you enter a room and like there's a hallway next to
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah.
and you just fucking hear people fucking
And all the dead bodies
and all
and
the
shit.
dead bodies. Like what the fuck?
Yep.
You know, that's
Yeah,
a cool
and it's
introduction.
you can't use your guns, right? You have to like use CQC, right? In that boss fight.
I think.
The
Yeah.
way that Kojima thinks of like ways to be like, this is, oh, you rely too much on your weapons. I'm gonna take that element away from
Yeah.
you, and you have to force yourself to like, use your hand-to-hand combat. God, man, what a great game. Also, a good ending too. It was a great. It reminded me a lot. Like again, going back to something we said off the podcast, how there's these like. Like Kojima likes to repeat the same kind of like beats in his game. Like you escape on a motorcycle in 1, you do the same thing in 3 and shit. And I was like, oh, God. But it works for some reason in these games. It fucking works.
So question: which ending did you prefer in Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear Solid?
You
Killing
sound like-
Meryl, or walking away with her, or walking away with Emmerich? Would you prefer the stealth, or would you prefer the infinite
know,
ammo?
man. I think I like the Emerald one, right? The Merrill one, yeah, I like
say
that.
Merle.
Yeah, Merrill, yeah, that's what I
Oh,
was.
I
Yeah.
thought you said
I know I said Emerald for, but Merrill, yeah. Because then then it's like Snake reveals his real name and everything, right?
Yeah.
Is David, which a lot of people say like, oh, it's because of David Hayter, but it isn't actually. The script was completed in Japan before it was before David Hayter was casted.
Oh,
So it
that's
is
cool.
actually, yeah, it is.
Yeah, but they didn't say David. I'm sure it was like
Joe John.
Isn't that his fucking name in 3 is like Jack, like a boss calls him Jack.
Yeah.
But then his name is John, so it's Jack John fucking Big Boss Snake. It's like, what the fuck?
I going back to the ending, I enjoy that because it, the once you meet her again in Metal Gear 4, it's kind of like a little.
Now she's
reunion.
like she's really
Yeah, now
like,
she's- yeah, I
she's
know that.
fucking badass and everything. I mean, she was a rookie in 1, right? So
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
and then in 4 she
Oh, I don't know. Let's see what Josh says.
she was kind of annoying in the first one.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
I've never killed somebody in the blood, and and then you have to like watch her ass as she's running away. Watch out when you're running.
It's so weird. Oh my god. Snake, I know we touched on him as a character, but dude, this Metal Gear Solid 1 created this iconic character. I know he was in the Nintendo games, but this is the one that like
David Hayter
right.
now made him iconic.
Yeah.
I would say.
I would say he's Solid Snake's more iconic than Big Boss. He just.
He's the one that's in Smash, not fucking.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, right.
Truth.
So, yeah, would you call him like Solid Snake? Is he more iconic than someone like Mario to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe not as like recognizable as like, because I feel like everyone universally, like your mom knows who fucking Mario is.
Well,
Maybe not Snake, but Snake is like.
he is, in my opinion, the face of PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
I refused to buy. I remember when PS2 came out, the Xbox came out, and it was like, Halo, gotta play
Master
Halo.
Chief and
Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, fuck that. I'm getting fucking Metal Gear 2.
yeah. Which leads us. That's a good way to transition into Metal Gear Solid 2, because a lot of people were like, "Here's the sequel. Here's Snake, and in all this new high definition." And what happens? You only play him for the fucking prologue.
I will say that I just finished Metal Gear 2, Sons of Liberty, and I like it. I think it's aged well, but I remember, and I was telling Alberto about this earlier. So I Blockbuster allowed you to rent consoles back in the day, and Metal Gear Solid 2 just came out, and I remember I went to Blockbuster. I gave them a $50 deposit, blood and semen, to rent a PS2 console.
And they're like, sir, the last two are not required. I don't know why you got to do that. Throw
Take
in,
it anyways.
Throw in some whoppers, please. I got to.
And I remember playing that game and beating the prologue, and then you get Raiden. And I felt like, and I think a lot of people out there can relate to this as well. The problem with Metal Gear 2, it was the biggest bait and switch ever.
But the balls on Hideo Kojima, though, to be like, you're not playing as Snake this time. You're playing as Raiden.
It was such a, it was, yeah, and can't have too much Snake, right? He is technically in the game.
No,
That's
I mean,
okay.
It's the same problem of like The Last of Us Part 2, where it's like that bait and switch also. Well, before they leaked it, right? Where it's like, oh, Joel's going to be in the game, guys. Like your favorite character from 1. They fucking kill him in the first 20 minutes. And it's like, well, the first hour or whatever. But it's like, it's also kind of like that bait and switch. But like, yeah, it's just, it divided.
It does.
The fan base at the time.
Well, you
know?
I remember promos for Metal Gear Solid 2, and the promo was when he's walking on the bridge and he does the flip off, goes into stealth, ends up on the boat, you know, and this was the graphics from Metal Gear Solid 1 to Metal Gear Solid 2, and everyone was just so blown away because at the time this was great, you know, and the promotions were Snake, Snake, Snake. And then you play the game finally, and you're like, and you got to keep in mind too, when you rent a game from Blockbuster, you just get the fucking Blockbuster cover, not the actual game. So whereas Raiden's on the cover, I didn't know that, and then I was just so like, who is? I was like having a seizure because I just didn't know how to comprehend how to.
Dude, to its favorite, like to its credit though, Metal Gear Solid 2. How poetic is it though? That the game is about controlling information, keeping things away from like the public. That game did that with its marketing. It made you think that it was Snake, and then it's like, no, it's actually Raiden.
And that's
kind of what happens in the game too.
That's Kojima at his finest.
I'm like, damn, that's fucking cool, because that's kind of what Metal Gear Solid 2 is about. Is like, Raiden does not know what the fuck is going on just as much as the player does,
and he was the biggest tool. Right.
Yeah.
You know, he was used.
He was used just like the player was used.
Yeah, and it was obviously it wasn't a real mission. Everyone created it. It was a simulation. Technically, you know, they're just trying to reenact Shadow Moses.
Yep.
You know, so I get what they were doing because, you know, looking back at it, Metal Gear Solid was all about like, we got to create the perfect soldier through DNA, through clones. Metal Gear Solid 2 was about
almost like building the perfect society.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we get to control the information and what you guys know and don't know.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
it was like, and it obviously, a lot of people say that game predicted the age of disinformation that we're like kind of in now. And
who's to say that it wasn't there then?
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
And you know, that's where a lot of these stories come from, is because of how the government is. You know, is the president really a pawn?
Is he really AI? Who knows if he's AI?
Which I will say that starting out playing that game with Raiden, you know, Campbell is AI right off the bat.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Like the way hearing Campbell from Metal Gear Solid 1 and how
there was like something off.
He was just like, Raiden, we need to make sure that we, you know, and I'm like, this is AI. Obviously, because I played the game before.
Yeah. You were able to like notice it.
Right off the bat. And I'm just like, wow, how did I not notice that to begin with? And obviously, as the game goes, it's obvious, you know.
Yeah. But we do have to, like, now that at the time going from 1 to PlayStation 2, let's talk about just how, like, even to this day, the little details in this game, like how you can shoot like every fucking like bottle
first person.
And it's like it looks so realistic. the different ways to like the different methods to kind of tackle boss fights.
Well, taking out people is a lot more difficult too.
Yeah,
So
that's
Metal
true.
Gear Solid 1, kill somebody, they disappear. This one, now you can't leave them on the floor. If you kill them, you have to hide them in a
You have to hide
locker.
'em. It's a little more realistic now. There's more detail to it. There's videos out there on YouTube that you guys can look up that shows you like all the little minute details in Metal Gear Solid 2. And again, like it just continues with 3, with 4 and 5. There's just the little fucking details in that game. But me and Josh played it recently, Enter, but what do you remember from Metal Gear Solid 2? Yeah, I know you finished it at one point.
No, I know. This is how I don't remember it so much. Is that
You didn't know Campbell was AI.
No, yeah. I didn't know that that whole thing for Raiden was like a simulation. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, dude.
And when you were telling me all this, I was like, so wait, so he doesn't have a fucking wife then? You know?
Yeah,
Right?
like, I feel like everything was like manufactured
So
and shit.
I want to speak to that because you guys, I guess, played it and understand it more than I did. I played it when the HD collection came out. That was the last time I played it. So what was his role then of Raiden?
The Josh said he was a pawn, dude.
But did they also trying to make him as a perfect soldier, or what was going on?
No,
there?
he was just used, and the only reason why they used him was he was raised by Solidus Snake.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so, and yeah, I just fucking beat it, and the ending was like so fucking long that it was hard for me to focus on it.
Right.
But
Wasn't he an orphan too, or something?
yeah, so technically he was like from country.
Mm-hmm.
Solidus Snake and his team goes in, wipes out the whole this town,
Mm-hmm.
and he kills his parents,
Oh yeah.
and then sees him, and supposedly Jack witnesses it.
Mm-hmm.
Raiden witnesses it, but he can't remember it because he suppressed it.
Mm-hmm.
That he took him as his own
Mm.
child. Well,
Right?
I want to say, and this may not be correct, but thinking about the original Nintendo Metal Gear game. So if you play Metal Gear 2, the area that you go to, it's actually there's kids everywhere. You can actually talk to the kids, and what you find out about these kids is the facility is using them to build them into soldiers.
Mm.
And obviously, Big Boss is like running the whole thing. I think Jack was a part of that.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
I may be wrong,
Yeah.
but that's just my theory. But because of the whole, like they were using Solidus, they were using Jack Raiden for this specific task or whatever, this S3 simulation to build the perfect soldier because of their relationship with one another.
You know what I was just thinking now? Well, we'll get to it like in foreign shit. But, Raiden is a fucking cool character.
Not in 2.
Not in 2.
Not in 2. I think me and Josh have talked about like
No, but like
he's
once,
always fucking hold on, I'm sorry, but he's always asking fucking questions. I know that Snake does too, but like Raiden is like the Patriots. Lolly Lully, what is that? What's C4? Where is Strut B? And I was like, dude, can you just please stop? Come on.
No, it's like
Yeah,
later
but-
on, you know.
Later on, yeah, and they
And-
allude to it too, Jack the Ripper, and they in Solid 2.
But
Such a
the
cool
thing about
fucking-
him is like, I don't know where Rising it takes place. I don't
And
know.
we will get into Rising
Yeah,
as
but
well,
like-
but yeah.
I just noticed. I don't know if it's Hideo Kojima or Konami behind. It's like, he loses an eye too in fucking Metal Gear Rising.
Oh shit, that's right, he does, huh?
It's like, what the fuck's with all these characters losing their fucking eye?
I think, you know what? I think that's Kojima's only input in Rising. Is like, he must lose his fucking eye. Go ahead. I don't care what you do with the story. He can do whatever the fuck. Just make him lose his eye.
Yeah, it's just.
So my biggest problem too about Metal Gear 2 is it's a big soapbox.
You didn't lose his eye, right?
No,
Who?
he just uses the patch because it like helps him with. It's like some technology, yeah. But they had to do it because
You're right.
Big Boss, you know. No, but like I remember like so Metal Gear Solid 1, I didn't save as much. 2, I like wanted to save because of the drama between him and his girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Jack, do you remember what day it is?
It's like, I'm just trying to save. I don't got time for this, Rose.
And then he's like, it's April 30th, and she's like, oh, well,
Like,
I'll
okay.
I'll just ask again later.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm gonna save
Right.
30 minutes later because I'm interested in where this
And then
conversation's
she's
going.
like, do you remember the significance of that date? And they're like, I don't know, dude. Can you?
Did you have a wife or Rose in the game? Yeah. So she was real or not?
Well, because she meets her at the very end, doesn't
yeah,
she?
so she ends up being real
Well, there is an AI
version
Rose,
of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That
but
was
she ends up
busting his fucking balls for no reason. So this is robot busting his fucking balls.
But you start to question it too. That was
Yeah.
the mind fuck of the game,
Yep.
right? You know, like, is this all real?
Mhm.
How much of this is fake? You know, like, but then you also get that piece from Snake and why he's so fucking legendary is, you know, you are in control of your destiny. He gives him that speech, you know.
Oh, I thought you were gonna mention it was like infinite ammo, and he points at the. That makes him legendary, dude. He's got infinite ammo.
Well, hence why that is the true ending to
Yeah.
Metal Gear 1, right?
Right.
Is
So
the
that's-
infinite,
he's got the
ammo.
ammo.
But
Sorry, I threw you off, but no, like, yeah, Snake gives him that advice of like,
yeah, you know, like, you know, you are in control of your destiny. You
Yeah.
can do what you can do. You know, blah blah blah, and you're just like, fuck yeah, man.
Mhm.
Fuck yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But fuck Raiden, man. Fuck Raiden. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, you said it before we recorded, like that to you is like the weakest of all.
It is.
Metal Gear
You know,
games.
playing it, I did appreciate it.
Me
You know,
too.
I appreciate
Yeah.
the step up, the evolution of the game, the series.
Yep.
Set the bar for shit. It was actually pretty well done that they ended up doing Twin Snakes because of it.
Yeah.
Because Twin
Yeah.
Snakes is a mirror of the same fighting style and like
Mhm.
anything you can do in Sons of Liberty,
You can do
you
in
can do
Twin Snakes.
Twin Snakes. You
Yeah.
know.
And we didn't mention also like Raiden brings up all these like VR training missions that he did, and it's in reference to Metal Gear Solid the VR mission game,
True.
which is like, oh,
Yep.
that's so fucking cool. You
Yep.
know, like, oh, I did so many hours of this shit. and
Which
it's
is
like,
so fucking annoying because he
Yeah.
talks about it. He's like, yeah, I did this in VR.
Yeah.
And then Snake is like, excuse me?
like VR.
That's
Like
the
this is
dumbest-
real life.
I know,
okay?
like,
This is real life. You got to remember the significance of that date that Rose gave you, and you got to be a better fucking. You're to master your own destiny. It just like so much gets thrown on fucking Raiden in this game, dude.
I will tell you that the last fight scene with Solidus is garbage.
It is right.
It is underwhelming. Controls are garbage. 'Cause
Why
you
the
have to
fuck?
fucking use a sword.
Why would they give you a fucking sword, man?
Why? I don't know. All I know is that I was like, I did a lot of flips,
Yeah, I did the
flipping
same
around
thing
like
too.
crazy, and then I
Yeah.
would just like circle my
Yep.
my analog stick
Yeah,
in
that's all
hopes
I
of
fucking
like
did too.
attacking him.
Yep.
Uh,
That's why I played it on easy, cause fuck that shit, dude. I wasn't gonna deal with that.
Worst boss fight of the series.
Yeah.
Especially
I agree.
every, like we just talked about how iconic the fight scenes, even the fight scene with Liquid on top of Metal Gear Rex,
Yeah,
and you're like stressing about the time going down and throwing
Yep,
him off.
Yep.
You know, as simple and, you know, poor graphics as it was so fucking intense.
Yeah, it was,
And
man.
then the last fight scene in Sons of Liberty is on a roof with this guy in a fucking steroid suit.
And you got a sword.
And you have a
it's like
sword.
A dinky little fucking
Like,
sword.
what happened to my fucking guns?
Right. Man.
Where's my stinger?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have the most memorable bosses, except for it's called Vampire. Vamp. He was
Yeah.
kind of cool. I did like that.
That
boss
was
fight.
fun.
Yeah, that was,
When
that was
he's
fun.
like swimming around.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I like that.
That
was
was
good,
fun.
good. But yeah, overall, Metal Gear Solid 2, at the time when it came out, a lot of people were like, "The fuck happened, man? Like, give me Snake." And boy, did they give us fucking Snake. Because the next one, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, we returned to David Hayter for the entire fucking game. It's the... You didn't even know... You said you didn't know it was a prequel.
Fuck no, dude.
And it's like... Once
I
you
didn't
start
even know
playing-
that game came out. When it
Oh,
came
that's
out.
right. Yeah, you did say that. You did mention that.
So I remember promos for it. Okay, and this is actually really fun. It was a fun promo. I didn't know when the game was going to be released, but I want to say a year before it came out. Let's say my buddy's like, hey, you gotta watch this video real quick. It's the new Metal Gear 3 that they're advertising, and they had Snake on one side, and they had Raiden on the other side, and there's a chair in the middle. And they're both running to the chair, and you see Raiden about to sit on it, and Snake scoots him out of the way and fucking sits on the
Are
chair.
you serious?
And people just flipped out.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Is that a real fucking promo?
That was a real promo. I swear to God, I'm not making it up. But it was to kind of let the people know Snake is coming back.
Like
We are
yeah.
playing Snake. It was obviously Metal Gear Solid Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say anything else. That was it.
Yeah. God damn.
And then I remember, I don't know how long late, like I want to say a year later or so, I get this like Christmas gift. I unwrapped it and I'm like, when did this come out? Metal Gear Solid 3? What the fuck?
Dude, yeah, quite possibly arguably to a lot of people, and I would also agree, the best Metal Gear Solid entry. We're still yet to talk about the other ones, but this one, this was the one that I think a lot of people were like, this is it, dude. This is where the series not peaked, obviously, because 4 and 5 came out and they were well received, but this is the one where people were just like, this is the fucking greatest game of all time for PS2.
I would agree.
It's the best fucking Metal Gear Solid entry, and it is just. Are you still trying to look for it?
Fuck, we gotta see this.
Yeah. There's gonna be a bit of dead air. We're trying to look up this promo that Josh is talking about.
Well, should we do an intermission?
Should we do an intermission now, guys? Should we call it? Yes. All right, we're gonna come back. We're gonna do a small intermission here, and we'll return back. And we're back from that very brief intermission.
Sure it was.
We went through a whole roller coaster of emotions. Josh had to look up that little Metal Gear Solid 3 promo that he was talking about.
That was Edgar first, and then I wanted to find
Dude,
it.
When we saw it, though, it felt like a fever dream. I was like, I do not remember seeing this anywhere, and it was just like, it was a treat to watch. So we're learning here on Two Brothers, dude. We didn't know that there was a fucking promo for what looked like Metal Gear Solid 4.
It was, yeah. For some reason, it was like Metal Gear 4.
That's weird. That's weird. But we're talking about 3, not 4. And as we were saying before our intermission, Metal Gear Solid 2 starring Raiden.
Fuck that guy.
That's what Josh said. That he didn't like Raiden. But Metal Gear Solid 3 was all about Snake, particularly the origins of Big Boss.
What was his name? Just Snake?
John.
Or Jake.
Jack, John, Jake.
Was it just Snake?
It was just Snake. It was just Snake, yeah.
Eater?
And Snake, yeah. I think that's what they called him, right? Oh, Snake Eater. I don't know.
You just played it.
Yeah, I don't remember, dude. I played it in the span of a month. I don't remember the fucking beginning. But yeah, look, this one, I was telling Josh before we like recorded the podcast, like I think this one is my favorite out of the whole series of Metal Gear. And I mean, it comes to no surprise, it's everybody's favorite, right? That when they talk about their greatest or their favorite Metal Gear Solid game. But before, we talk about it, like, dude, I can see if someone says, like, 2's their favorite. I can understand.
Wait.
No, hold on.
Sons of Liberty?
Yeah, no, I'm getting somewhere. I'm saying that, like,
okay, please, because you just made my butthole pucker up. Like, please.
I can see where people are coming from, because each of the games is, like, unique, right? 1, a lot of people say is their favorite. I can understand that. 2... okay, I can understand 2, right? 4, as long as those fucking cutscenes are. Like, each one, I don't have a problem when people say, like, oh, this is my favorite Metal Gear game. This is 4 and all that. But I think objectively, at least to me, 3 is, like, the fucking Resident Evil 4 of the Metal Gear Solid series.
It is arguably the greatest of the series. I do agree with that.
It's an evolution of 2, right, with the mechanics and everything like that. But correct me if I'm wrong, Metal Gear Solid 3 is the only one of its kind in just video games in general. Like letting you do like curing your body, maintaining like eating food and stuff like that. I know that it is in other games and stuff, but not in this way.
I think it pretty much started it. I felt like,
Yeah,
you know,
at the time it was just
yeah, you have to eat. You have to like heal your body. Like if you break a bone, you have to take care of yourself.
yeah. Which, and this is where I was talking about playing this game on easy, the 2 and everything. 3 I played on easy as well, and I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not the greatest Metal Gear Solid player. When I was playing 3, I kept getting fucking bitten by like snakes. There was one point in the game when I was trekking through the wood or the fucking jungle, I found like the beehive, and I was like, oh, I'd probably get something really cool off of that. I shot it, I did, but then the fucking bees like chased me. I was like, Albert, you fucking moron! Why would you do that? Like, I'm not the greatest player of 3, but I feel like if you did crank up the difficulty, those mechanics definitely come into play.
Well, I think what makes it difficult too is you're not in a building anymore.
No,
There's no fucking lockers. Is it? You can. There is boxes. You can hide in.
There's boxes, yes.
You know,
yeah.
but the thing is you have to rely on like, you know, changing your outfit, hiding in the grass, slow movement.
Yep. Preserving your battery when you're using the motion sensor, because there's not one by default.
Truth.
You have to you really do have to pay attention to your surroundings. It makes you feel like, I know that you hear this a lot, but it makes you feel like Big Boss in this game. Like, it makes you feel like Snake.
Well, the great thing about it, I feel like we're gonna just fucking. This is officially the Metal Gear Solid 3 discussion because it's so fucking big.
Dude, this is it. Right
yeah. Fuck everything else. What I loved about, you know, as the games progressed, everything got better.
Yeah.
The you know, you legitimately have to sneak. Sneaking got better. Close quarter combats got better.
Yep.
You know, the shooting got better. You know, everything about the gameplay just this set the bar for 4 and 5, in my opinion.
Or just honestly, to be honest, like stealth games in general.
Yeah.
You know, because at the time you had Splinter Cell coming out, right? Or when did Splinter Cell?
No, it came out. I want to say like they were always close to each other,
right?
From Metal Gear 1, and it was always either you like Splinter Cell or.
Yeah.
And those of you that picked Splinter Cell, you guys go fuck yourself too.
Hey, Splinter Cell's a fuck. I respect that series. Sam Fisher may not be nearly as iconic as Solid, but you gotta give him the flowers.
I enjoyed it. which hey, we also have to speak on that. Metal Gear was so loved and respected that they brought him up in Splinter Cell.
Yeah. And
got that phone call that he retired.
Yeah. Which is fucking cool. But yeah, going back to 3 and the mechanics of the game, God, dude, the way that you could approach different encounters, right? Like you can shoot the guards' transceiver so they wouldn't call for backup.
Yeah.
You know, or you can literally throw fucking like snakes at them or shit like that. You could shoot the beehive like I fucking did, and it would like, if you're, you know, precise enough and there's a guard coming. There's just different ways to handle combat encounters. You know, it wasn't just like, you could run and gun. Obviously, you could just fucking go mow down enemies. But, yeah, you could be more strategic in this game. There was a dedicated fucking, like, I was telling Josh this before we recorded the retrospective, that, like, I kept getting caught in 3 until I figured out it was the D-pad that let you, like, sneak. And I was like, yeah, there's a dedicated button to sneak in this game, because otherwise you'd be caught in a fucking instant, you know.
Well, also the interrogation was a plus too.
Yeah, the interrogation.
Getting up in front of behind somebody, choking them, getting your knife out, and then getting information, and then you just either knock them out or just fucking stab them to death, like cut their throat.
Yep. That's so fucking cool, and it applies the same to boss fights, right? I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. I know we're going to talk about the story and everything like that, but the boss fights, do you agree? This is some of the best boss fights in fucking gaming.
So I will say that the bosses in Metal Gear Solid are iconic. are the best. I will say that the combats fighting these bosses were the best in different ways. If we were talking about boss fights, if that makes sense, right? I the only one that stands out is what's his face, the main villain to me.
In 3?
In 3.
Vulcan?
Vulcan, yeah. Yeah, I would say it's pretty much, they're both iconic too. Thinking back, it's been a while since I've thought about this, but I just, maybe because I also just played Metal Gear Solid recently. Just something about like Psycho Mantis, Raven, Sniper Wolf, But then also keep in mind, I think they had to probably up the notch a little bit because going back to Metal Gear Solid 2, the villains were extremely weak.
Lackluster,
Yeah.
by comparison. And with 3, one of my favorite boss fights was Vulcan, because at this point I was just like mowing through enemies. I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck. I keep getting caught. I'm just gonna use my shotgun and like kill them and everything. But when you get to Vulcan, and I had my shotgun out, like even Major Zero tells you like, hey, be careful, don't have your gun around because he uses electricity and he can make your fucking like gun explode if you use it. And so it's like, oh fuck, I relied too much on my weapons. Now I have to be more like, what's the next route that I can take down this boss? And that's something that was like kind of missing in 2. In 2, it was like, it's kind of obvious how you could take him out. You know what I mean? With 3, the possibilities were fucking endless, man. Like the end, for example. You don't have to, I don't think so. You can finish him off very early in the game before you even reach the boss fight. There's a moment where he's like in a wheelchair and you can just take him out.
Yeah, you're actually right.
Right?
Yeah, I saw that on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yes, you can actually sniper him and kill him.
Yep.
You're
Before you even get to the boss fight, like that's fucking awesome. Or if you do get to the boss fight, you can do it how the game intends you to do it, or as we all know, because it's fucking iconic. Fucking Kojima being the genius he is, you can wait an entire real week, and he just fucking dies.
Or be the lazy way and just fast forward time.
Fast forward the time, yeah.
On the PlayStation.
Which is fucking, oh my god. How iconic. Do you remember that how did you react when you found out that like that was a way to take care of the end?
Metal Gear 3, the HD collection, that's how I played it. That was my first time, right?
Yeah.
So when I got to that part, I was like, fuck, he keeps seeing me. He keeps using the sniper. I don't know how I defeated him. I forgot how I did it. I think... trying to think. I think you just go where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how you kill him. I think you...
to like find his position and everything?
And I don't know how you kill him. I forgot, but I did it the hard way, basically.
The actual way that you're supposed to do it.
And I saw a video with it's like, motherfucker.
Like you could fast
I
forward.
could fast forward it. So I did it the hard way. Because he's annoying as fuck. So
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, the right way is you actually had to hide and sneak up behind him. And then you had to shoot him from behind every time.
there you go.
Because he would just hide, like, he for an old fuck, he was, like, extremely quick.
Yeah.
And he was all over the place. So you literally had to, it took a lot of time and patience because you had to crawl around, be slow, sneak up to him. And
Yeah,
then
going
finally
back
shoot
to it, like you have to take your time with this game. You can't just go in running around. They got booby traps set around the fucking like jungle. There's like a huge emphasis on taking it slow, being patient, being deliberate, and not wasting, if you're playing on harder difficulties, not wasting your suppressors and shit like that. Using your motion sensor, turning it on and off so you can conserve your battery. Like, dude, like this is stealth, like a stealth game. Like it did it right at the time. It was
What's funny is that first scene when you go into that little like camp that has like all these soldiers.
Yeah.
And then like Zero. Was his name?
Yeah, Major Zero.
Major Zero. He's like, Snake, I suggest that you actually just go through it and just, sneak around. Don't kill them. Don't blah 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 blah. And I remember I fucking it up, I had to kill everybody. And he's like, Snake, what happened? Why did you? I told you to conserve your ammo. So it tries to actually hint at you to, rely on be espionage, right?
Be tactical and everything.
Tactical, yeah. And God, man. But let's actually talk about the intro. Oh.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, before that.
Is there a fucking boss that is with the bees? Okay. I thought I was just making that shit up. Was he hard? No, right?
That was Fear.
Fear, right?
The guy with the longer hair. My memory serves. In the cave.
Fear's the one that I think he breaks his arms and he's looking like a spider. He's crawling up those trees. Oh, the bee one. I forget who he is.
There's a bee guy, right? Yeah.
I forget what he is. Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was just.
Because there's the end, the sorrow, the fear, and then there's obviously boss, Vulcan, and I forget.
Is Ocelot in there?
Yeah, Ocelot.
Yeah.
Ocelot coming in a lot and shit and trying to fucking show off, and always getting fucking disarmed or
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I noticed when I was playing that? He only ever has one bullet in his fucking revolver, dude. And then at the end he's like, oh, it was a blank or whatever the fuck when he's finding Snake in the airplane.
We just watched an episode of Always Sunny, and right, Ocelot reminds me of Mac when he had just the handle of the gun.
Oh yeah, he just had the fucking handle. You didn't actually have the actual.
That's also the
dude.
He's just throwing.
Well, it's because he starts with not a Makarov. He starts with a different handgun.
Not a
Snake,
revolver.
Yeah, not a
Yeah,
revolver.
just a regular pistol.
Yeah, and Snake disarms him. You're holding it in a different way. If you're using it, you might as well use a revolver because that seems like the kind of style you're trying to replicate. And Ocelot. Yeah. And then Ocelot comes in with 12 fucking revolvers and shit. Because he loses 5 of them every cutscene that I see is he just loses one all the time. Going or you wanted to talk about the intro, right?
One of the greatest intros to a video game.
Virtuous Mission, I think they called it.
Halo Jump.
Oh man.
When you're sitting in the plane and you're smoking a cigar.
The fact that you use your cigar when you're in the cave too, because it's dark and you have to use a light source. Is that's how I did it. I used a fucking cigar to just make my way through. Which is that's what incentivizes. It doesn't treat you like a fucking dumb player. You have the tools to navigate this world. You just have to really think about it.
Right.
Which is fucking cool. I like that it respect my intelligence. I didn't think I was. I mean, I was still stupid. I didn't. I there's a lot of times where I was just I'm not. I keep getting fucking caught. I don't know what's going on.
That's why we played on easy.
Or very easy or whatever the fuck you're playing it on. Also, I didn't understand at first because it tells you which, what was it, your favorite Metal Gear? And it says Metal Gear 1, 2. I didn't understand, what the fuck that. Do you know what that means?
Wait, what? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's
when you're starting the game, it gives you the difficulty, but then it also shows you a list of what your favorite Metal Gear games were or whatever, based off of I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was MGS1, MGS2, MGS3, and I forget what you get from it when you select it. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
What?
Let's talk about the intro, guys.
Dude, I want to talk about the intro, but yeah, that shit.
Let's talk about the start screen, dude.
Yeah, we went too far to the beginning.
No, you're talking about the intro, right? So I mean, it's where does that rank for you in terms of? Because you got the beginning of Metal Gear Solid 1, and then 2 when you're playing as Snake, and then this is the prologue. Where does it rank?
Number 1. Hands down. You're on a mission, right? You're to save that if my memory serves me right, that
Russian dude,
the guy who creates the nuclear warhead whatever, and
Shagahad.
Yeah, and when you get there, who's there with you?
Boss.
Why?
Because fucking betrays you, man.
And she's on the codec too.
Yeah.
She's talking to you. She's setting you up for success.
But how long did it take you to find out that that was Pearl from SpongeBob?
Wait, what?
You know, I guess only me and Edgar know. Like you seen some SpongeBob episodes, right?
I've dabbled a little bit, but
Well, I mean, I guess you wouldn't understand it, but like the boss is voiced after Pearl from SpongeBob, who's like Mr. Krabs' daughter or whatever. That's all I fucking heard in my head when she was talking.
God.
Like I'm just hearing Pearl is not fucking boss. What's going on? Anyways, I just had to put that out there. It was kind of funny when I was playing it.
Ah.
What the fuck was that?
I don't-
Did you have a stroke? What happened?
trying to relate, Alberto.
They trying to do the fucking SpongeBob laugh. Dude. What the fuck?
Well, I don't know.
All right, well, this is not the SpongeBob retrospective here, guys. Okay, let's get back on track. Let's talk about Metal Gear Solid 3, okay? I was gonna say, like, I was gonna talk about the last boss fight, but Snake Eater, the fucking the song playing at the end when you're fighting boss. That too.
Yeah.
But it plays when you're fighting boss at a certain point. Remember you
Gives
saw
you that 007 vibe.
Yep.
Which is very interesting.
God. So hold on, where are you currently in the game?
Metal Gear 3?
Yeah.
I have not turned on the power yet.
You haven't started playing it?
No, I just finished like Metal Gear 2.
Oh, I thought you said you were playing 3.
I'm about to play 3. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My bad.
All right. No, I didn't know. But yeah, what are your thoughts? So when you played it, when it came out, what was your reaction to that final boss fight with Big Boss at that point?
When you're in the field,
Yeah.
dude, it was a beautiful fight.
To me, that's what cemented it as like this is my favorite Metal Gear game.
If I remember correctly, she doesn't allow you to use a weapon, right? Yeah, you have to use CQC.
No, you could use a weapon, but she does encourage you to like.
Doesn't she disarm you?
You can actually at that point you could disarm, not disarm her, but you could like fucking knock her down. Yeah, you can CQC her at that point.
Yeah.
So, but you could still use your weapons
I'm trying
against
to
her.
remember because like, what's great about the game too is she's on a whole different level in the beginning. She obviously like destroys you.
Yeah.
But because Snake goes through this long journey, and obviously revenge, he grows, evolves,
And he becomes the fucking master.
and he owns her.
Yeah.
And then of course just like any other Metal Gear villain, as she's dying, she tells her sob story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you enjoy it. You don't hate it. You just like you feel for these people.
Yeah, and Edgar made a good point before we recorded. So like you feel that sense that like Snake didn't want this. He didn't want to fight her. He was just trying to, because he loves her. He said that he has this like relationship with her. He cares about her a lot.
Yeah.
So it's very like.
But that's the point of
conflicting.
every Metal Gear game is, and then Metal Gear 3 was a perfect example of it, based off of what you just said, is they're all pawns, and they state that in Metal Gear Solid, the very first game is Snake is like, we're just all pawns of a war, We're all used, The only difference is Big Boss, and she and Boss knew that, and that's why they defected. Maybe.
I feel like in the beginning of the game, he's like trying to show himself, like I can do this.
Yeah.
And towards the end, he's like, I don't want to do this. He doesn't want none part of it, right? And when you did the ending, when you fight Big Boss, he doesn't say anything, right? When she's doing her whole thing, like you have to kill me and da 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 da. He's just like, okay, like, he doesn't talk to her. He doesn't, or does he?
No, he doesn't, because for the major part of the game, he is trying to like reason with her and trying to talk to her and be like, "What the fuck? What are you doing? Why are you why are you doing this and shit?" So towards the end, he's just like,
I lost an eye.
Yeah. I pissed my pants. I went through a whole bunch of shit. We didn't even talk about the Sorrow fight, but he technically died and came back to life. You know?
The ghost guy, right?
Yeah.
Dude. Sorry, when I think it was the same time when he lost his eye, right?
Uh-huh.
And it tells you to first person.
First person, you go to first person.
Codex.
Yeah, he shows
Fucking
you
cool.
the codec. Yeah.
That
Or when
whole
you're
thing-
fighting Volgin too, before you fight him in that cutscene, it also gives you the option to go into first person mode, and the Sorrow is showing you how much time is left because you planted the bombs.
Oh.
So he's reminding you like you got like it's 15 minutes. Now it's 12 minutes, and it's like happening in the cutscene. And it's like, oh fuck.
Sorrow is boss's lover,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
And dude, can we talk about like Nakey Janky touched on this on his video about The Last of Us Part 2, and how in The Last of Us Part 2 you end up slaughtering all these fucking people, but they never make a mention of it in the cutscenes or whatever. Like that your actions really don't have any consequences when you play The Last of Us Part 2. In Metal Gear Solid 3, like they did it. He's explaining it better than he did, but like each person that you killed shows up in that fucking boss fight.
Oh, is
You
it
know?
a boss fight?
Technically, it is like it's more just letting you know like how far you've come in this journey, how many people you've taken out,
Yeah, because
And
the
shit like that.
ghosts and yeah.
and you realize like, oh shit, I didn't have to
do
kill
this.
these people. I could have just tranked them and shit. You know?
What makes Metal Gear 3 so good is the development of the character and the evolution of Snake,
Yeah.
of
yeah.
Big Boss.
Yep.
You know, and I just thinking about this when you were talking, you know, because he was so new, right, and trying to prove himself. I think he was also, you can say that, and I think we can relate to this as well. Is you know, we all are, you know, trying to prove ourselves, but a lot of the times when we're trying to prove ourselves, we're naive.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll do what we got to do to get there.
Yeah.
You know, but then as you grow and you mature and things start to actually make more sense.
It's not everything. Nothing's black and white.
Yeah,
You know, things are kind of there's a
Exactly.
gray area.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and is Big Boss really a villain?
I was gonna say that like, can you really falter for defecting? Can you really falter for what she's doing? Like she even in that final boss, like or in that final fight, like she's just saying that like, dude, like the government screwed us over and like we've been through these fucking wars before. Like I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
That's what makes Metal Gear villains so great, and why you feel for them is because they all evolve and they all have like I don't want to say what they're doing is right, but it's justified.
Justified. Yeah.
It's all
They all
justified.
have their own like backstories, which like okay, that makes sense. Okay, I see where you're coming from. You know, like you said, you care for the villains too. It's like, damn.
Psycho Mantis. Do you remember his backstory?
I don't remember too
He
much
was
of
like
it.
abused by his father,
Oh yeah.
you know, and his father like judged him and treated him differently and all this other stuff. And then he ends up like murdering his father, like burn down the house or something like that. And you know, and he's like, I got joy out of it or something. That was like his birth of being. But like you feel for him because it's like,
He had a tragic.
yeah,
he was dealt the shit hand.
yeah,
Kinda,
he was treated,
Bad.
and he was treated bad because of his abilities and stuff. And
Like even what's it, Skullface in Metal Gear 5.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like he's a cool villain and everything too. It's like even his motives is like fuck okay. I can see where you're coming from. So yeah, Josh is right on that.
yeah, fuck Marvel.
You said Marvel?
Kojima did it first.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Yeah, everyone wants to talk about how Thanos is like one of the greatest, and he is. But like, dude, put some respect on the villains of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Like, they have tragic backstories, and it's almost like Dark Souls, right? Like, there's bosses in Dark Souls too that like have these tragic backstories to them, and it's like they're not just people that you're just fighting. Like, you understand why they're fighting the personal like war that they're fighting. You know. I think Solidus might be the only one that feels kind of like closer to just being a fucking like a villain, you know, that doesn't really like. He kind of seems kind of one note almost, but the rest, you know,
There was no. If you're going to talk about like Raiden not being justified as a character in Metal Gear, there was no.
no, dude, no, no.
If he was like somebody else and not a clone,
Yeah,
it would have been like, okay, like that's how irrelevant he was. He didn't even need to be a fucking clone of Big Boss. He could have just been somebody else.
Even that chick in I forget what her name is, but like in Metal Gear Solid 2, the one that like has that huge fucking like gun.
Fortune?
Yeah,
You don't even
she's
fight her.
But it's like she wants someone to fucking like kill her, but like because she has like all the luck in the world or whatever the fuck, I don't know. It's like, like that's even much more interesting than like Solid Snake. You know
But
what I mean?
that's also like going back to her. That's like such a letdown and showing how weak the villains are in Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
They build her up and you don't even fight her.
Nope.
Why was she even there?
And isn't it like that Ocelot had like manipulated some like the fucking so the bullets could like curve?
They
and it wasn't really,
like some type of technology and he was wearing it too. Because when you try to shoot him, but then she actually is Lady Luck.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
which was
that's right.
Kind of dumb.
Yeah, but dude, three had some of the best fucking boss fights. Really fitting ending. It created Big Boss, dude. Like, I think that's the reason why I love this game so much. Like, you hear Big Boss being talked about in like since the fucking like NES games and all that shit. You know, so you finally get to see the origins and why he is such a legendary fucking character in this universe. Like, and I mean, 1 will always be iconic too, but like 3 just felt like Hideo Kojima was like. We talked about him peaking. You know, I feel like this was him operating at the highest fucking level.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, this was the fucking best.
It is. I agree with you. It is arguably the greatest out of the series.
But let me pose a question to you, because we are talking about how flawless this fucking game is, and how I mentioned earlier that this is like the Resident Evil 4 of the Metal Gear Solid games. In terms of the PS2 era, which takes it? Resident Evil 4 or Metal Gear Solid 3?
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
It's a difficult question to answer because
I
they're
think
both really good.
You have to kind of leverage Metal Gear over Resident Evil because as a whole, Metal Gear is just so fucking great. Even their worst game is still good.
Yeah.
Resident Evil is pretty bad.
Let's be honest. Like, Resident Evil 4, as much as I love that game, they had to fucking pull something out of their ass for 4. Otherwise, that series would have been dead.
Sure.
And I feel like 3 was already like just too. For as much as 2 people were divisive about it, it was still good.
Yeah.
Still well made. You got Twin Snakes. They were on a roll.
Yeah.
Capcom was like, what else you got with Resident Evil? Like, you got any new tricks? And then of course that's forced them to make that over the shoulder perspective and lean in more to the action and everything. But I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is like the king of the PS2 era.
And I think that's what actually kept PlayStation alive.
What do you gotta say? You're shaking your head. Well, you don't agree?
Okay, the only reason I don't agree, let's say, if we're talking about how Resident Evil 4 changed how we play video games now, over the shoulder and all that fucking shit, then yeah, that takes it. But if we're talking about story and all that amazing shit, yeah, Metal Gear. If video games took what Metal Gear did, like with the self-healing and all that espionage and all that shit that's in Metal Gear 3, then yeah, that would, it would have been overall. But that's what I'm split. Like, if we're talking about Resident Evil 4 as how it is now, like how it changed everything, then yeah, Resident Evil 4. But story and character and Metal Gear.
Well, that's why you
pick one, dude.
Yeah.
Pick one.
And to be honest with you, I'll pick for you if you're saying like if you're pointing out all these things, and then unfortunately the bulk of it is Metal Gear 3. Metal Gear 3 is the superior.
I kind of have to agree with Josh, dude. Like, no, look. Okay, I want to make it
About time.
clear. I want to make it clear. I love.
Let's talk about
Resident
Batman
Evil
v
4.
Superman.
No, fuck that. You get out of here. I love Resident Evil 4. Obviously, it's one of the greatest games of all time. But I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is just a much more well-rounded package than 4 is.
And what's crazy too is you go Metal Gear Solid 2, right? And you think they're going to continue Metal Gear Solid series.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, let's take you back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's not
even great.
It's not a crazy concept when you think about like 1 being like, you know, like that's 1, and then 2 is a sequel, and then 3 we're taking you back, 4 we're taking you into the future, 5 we're taking you back. It kind of flip-flops a little bit. Peace Walker takes you a little more further than 3, but it's still before 1. It's like, dude, it's all over the place.
But the fact that they're able to do that,
yeah,
and make it great is so fucking impressive.
I agree. But yeah, so we have 3, fucking just like for me at the top. Okay, and then we don't see anything until 2008 because Metal Gear Solid 3 came out 2005, I believe. Next generation of consoles, we get Metal Gear Solid 4.
PlayStation 3.
Like this is when Metal Gear Solid 4 came out, that was the fucking console killer. Like if you wanted to buy a game, if you wanted to buy a console, you got to go with the PlayStation 3. You got to go with Metal Gear Solid 4. It was the conclusion to the saga. It seemed like at the time, like this is the final one for Hideo Kojima. This one I don't have too much like, because I only ever played it the one time, and that was when we did have a PlayStation 3. But this one to you is your favorite, so I feel like you're gonna speak more on this than I do. But Metal Gear Solid 4, this is your favorite. Right?
What is Metal Gear Solid 4 called?
Guns of the Patriots.
Guns of the Patriots. Yep.
Yeah. What did you think of it? This is the culmination of the series.
War never changes.
Oh, Fallout? You're talking about?
And doesn't he, I think he says that too, right? I think he does. I think he does say that. Dude, when I got the PS3, that was the first game I picked up.
Yeah.
That's all I ever wanted when I got the PS3. The reason why, he's my favorite character from the series. Getting a conclusion for him, you know? Yeah, even though the majority of the game is just all cutscenes, I fucking just loved it because, like you said, this one you'll get all Snake, you know? You get familiar characters, Merle, Raiden, I think. Who?
Yeah. Campbell's in it.
Campbell, Vamp shows up.
Oh, shit, that's right.
Which is crazy because in 2, he dies.
Yeah.
And I know he keeps coming back,
Yeah.
but it's like when did you see him come back in
Right.
2?
It just seeing him getting his own like ending to it was great. There's something about those type of characters that I like what Solid Snake is going through. Like he's old, he's aging rapidly. I think he's like shit. I forgot how old is he, but he's only in his 50s or I don't know, but he's like aging really fast. And this what how do you say, like establish the character, like who he is. Like I think it's one of the cutscenes, and there's like a mission brief, and he's just there like with the fucking.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then I think he does take a cigarette. He starts smoking. It's like he doesn't care anymore. He's just a fucking old badass and everything, right? And he still knows CQC and shit. Like it's all cool. But yeah, the story's kind of batshit crazy too. When because I didn't know anything about it. I just knew it's Metal Gear 4. I want to jump into it. And when I saw Ocelot being possessed, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? What did I miss? You know, all this shit. But once you get to play the game, the story unravels, and yeah, What are you gonna say?
No, like you said, it was batshit crazy. Like they brought Psycho Mantis back.
Oh yeah.
You fight him.
It's not him. It's another character. But I think every character from Metal Gear 4, every villain, is actually a similar clone to Metal Gear Solid 1. If my memory serves me right.
Okay.
You know?
I like how, like you said, it was batshit crazy, but it's like it's also like a love letter to the first one in particular.
Yeah.
Like you revisit Shadow Moses when you do fight the Psycho Mantis or whoever that is. Like he tries to read your
I think
fucking
there's
memory
3 of
card
them.
too. Yeah,
There's
there's
3
yeah.
Psycho-Mantises. They're pretty much like little like clones of him or whatever. I don't remember. But
And he tries to read your memory card too. It's like what kind of technology is this? And it's like, and when you go to Shadow Moses, like you can tilt the camera and then it starts to top down, and Snake says like, oh yeah, that's how I like it, like top down view and shit.
Like and during that Shadow Moses thing, I think you're going down the steps and it what's his name calls you. What's his name? The guy with the glasses, I think.
Ocelot?
No.
No, not Ocelot. Hal. Emmerich?
Emmerich. So it's time to change the disc too. And then it's like, hold on. The new technology is like, oh my god, dude. Yeah, every little detail like that was fucking cool.
Dude, I forgot to mention, this is going back to Twin Snakes, but like we talk about breaking the fourth wall. Like, there's a moment in I was watching a video of Twin Snakes, that moment where you're supposed to like tap the button or whatever to like. Ocelot literally like looks at the fucking camera and tells you,
"Oh yeah,
like, don't you use auto fire because I will tell," and shit. And he looks back at Snake like, dude, fucking Kojima, man, like he's a master of fucking breaking the fourth wall.
Yep.
Dude, you brought that back up when he goes to Shadow Moses and shit. Like, switch to this too. Like, oh, dude, that's.
Go ahead, Josh. I feel like you haven't talked.
No, you're good. No, I'm enjoying this. Please.
I think. And when he runs into Merle the first time, you don't run into her. You run into one of her teams.
Teammates or what?
Yeah, the guy. I forgot his
her
name.
squad.
Her squad, yeah. And the guy tries to pull the trigger on him. It's like, you have the safety on, and he like you fucking just.
That's why he was. Then he was like, he was getting closer to him, and the guy was like, "Why the fuck's he getting closer? Because you got the fucking like safety off and shit." He shits his pants.
I think he has like a stomach problem, so yeah.
Which everything is from Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
You know, with the soldier having stomach
Yeah,
issues,
yeah.
the safeties on Rookie.
Oh my god. Oh, she does?
Wait, she what?
I think she marries that soldier.
The one who fucking crafts his pants?
Oh my god.
So yeah.
Right,
And then
then.
after that, Merle shows up.
And can we talk about the redemption arc for fucking Raiden?
Yes, that's
That's directed towards you, Josh, because you were like, fuck Raiden. Well, Raiden says, fuck you right back. Because
yes, I do agree. Metal Gear Solid 2, fuck Raiden, bitch, complainer,
Yeah.
Rookie. You know, obviously he's the new cyborg ninja. The way they introduce him and he
Yeah.
comes in, badass. Even his like the ending when he's on the hospital bed and he has his body back. You know, like. Yeah, no, there's that was his saving grace, abso-fucking-lutely. But you're not playing him too. We'll throw that out.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Not yet. Not until you play Rising. You know.
I think his introduction shows up when you're fighting Vamp. I think, and you're like the Snake is trying to defeat in some way. Then I think Raiden shows up and takes over. I don't know. It's been a while, and there's a scene too where he takes down a whole bunch of Metal Gear too, right?
Doesn't he get fucked up too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he just like Oh,
It's crazy how like Metal Gear has evolved so much, as well.
Mhm.
You know, like there's Rex, and then in 2 they're like these like chameleon, aqua, whatever, they can swim, right? And then 4 there's like little drones of Metal Gears patrolling the streets.
Yeah.
So even the evolution of Metal Gear itself has gotten so great, and then also not to mention that every character from the previous games makes a return, except EE because she's dead.
Yeah.
Poor girl. But anyways, everybody comes back, and it shows how everybody has evolved.
Yeah,
has
has
gotten
grown.
great.
Dude, you can call this. I don't know. This is like the original like Avengers Endgame for
Yeah.
video games,
Holy
dude.
shit.
Right. It's this big grand finale and shit like that. Oh man.
Because you got Naomi who comes back.
Mhm.
Rose is back.
Yep.
Meryl's
Raiden.
back. Raiden's back.
Yep.
Ocelot's fucking
Ocelot's
back.
back.
Liquid's back.
Liquid's back.
Not
kind
really,
of,
but
yeah. Big Boss is back. Big Mama is back. Right. She's Eve from 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big
Eve
Mama.
is back.
So it feels like this is the Avengers Endgame for like
Truth.
video games, dude, and it has not been, at least to my knowledge, done before like that. I don't know when that second volume's coming out, dude. I want to play 4 again.
They even bring back PlayStation 1 graphics.
Yes,
Not to
dude.
mention.
Come on, man. Like, look for again going back to Resident Evil, right? I don't know why I keep drawing comparisons to Resident Evil, but like,
Stop.
like that game hasn't had that moment yet where they brought the characters back in one game. 6 tried it, but we all know that 6 is not as great. But Metal Gear Solid 4 is the game that like we bringing back old characters. This is a love letter to the first one. Fuck it, it's a love letter to the second one too. Fuck it, it's also a love letter to the like. It's a culmination of all the fucking games, and it doesn't matter about like whether you like the combat or you like the direction it took. If you were a fan of Metal Gear up to this point, you're sitting through that 71 fucking minute cutscene. You're playing the fucking game. It is fantastic, dude. It is still, in my opinion, probably the best game on at least that early era of like PS3. You know, it's fantastic.
Did it get Game of the Year?
I don't know if it did. It came out in 2008. What else came out in 2008?
It either did or it came in second. I don't think it did, but I may be wrong. Maybe it did.
Yeah, and
Actually, I want to say Halo.
Well, Halo, was it Halo 3? Came out in 2007. Yeah, it came out in 2008. I don't know what won Game of the Year in 2008. Maybe it was Metal Gear. No, it was Grand Theft Auto 4, right? I think Grand Theft Auto 4 won Game of the Year. Whenever a Rockstar game comes out, I feel like it's immediately like just shot up to like this overhype.
Yeah,
degree
but
of-
that's the thing about a lot of these games, like Halo, Grand Theft Auto. I don't know what is another series.
Uncharted.
Yeah. They're all potentially forgotten. Metal
Yeah,
Gear
man.
does not,
Metal Gear lives on.
and people want like a remastered. I remember like the remastered series. I want to say for the PS4. People wanted that for the longest time.
Yeah.
And we
Still
still
do.
do. And what do
Yeah.
they do for the PS5? They bring it out again. You know, and maybe
There's a
they're
reason
milking
for
it. That's what a lot of people are saying too. And
Yeah.
Kojima's not there. Kojima?
Kojima.
God, man.
Hideo Kojima. I don't know.
Whatever, man. You know, the Asian guy who made the. But people want it. People
Yeah.
want it.
How are we not going to talk about the ending? Resident Evil. Metal
Well,
Gear
we're getting
4.
there. Oh, we're getting there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about the bosses, but let's get into the grand finale.
Well, we've talked about boss fights though.
Mm-hmm.
How was the liquid ocelot fight? How you have to shift from ocelot and then the liquid ocelot.
Dude, that was like I told you.
The health bars,
The health bars, the split screen,
the music that comes
Everything, dude. Everything.
and you're on top of Metal Gear again.
He gives you a peck on the cheek.
He does. Spoiler: he's actually really not liquid, by the way.
Just everything, dude. Like, whatever they're doing, like with the adrenaline shots, like they get tired. Like, there we go again. You know, like they're to the point of fucking like fatigue. They're just like, fuck, man.
Or it's just that they're old. And
I was about to say, like, never have I enjoyed watching two old men fighting. Like, these guys are fucking giving it their all, dude. And I know we mentioned it on the top 5, like, our greatest moments of video games, but him going, like, crawling through that fucking microwave tunnel or whatever, that hall.
Iconic.
God, man, what a fucking iconic. And I know this is like kind of like a side note, but like if you were in overseas, the European version paid homage to the old Metal Gear Solid 1 cover, where it's like that like hand drawn look to it.
Oh man,
God, man, it's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. It's such a great, that boss fight, dude. When I was playing it, like at that point, I was feeling like, okay, come on, I'm ready to wrap things up, and then that boss fight happens. I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking legit. This is really fucking good. And again, I know I keep saying it, but like, it hasn't been replicated, dude. You don't have boss fights like this, you know, where it like continues and you feel like it's over, and nope, here's round 2. You're about to find him again, and it's like, it. I know, like, we talk about how like, oh, they always like retread the same thing, they're always rehashing, but like in this particular moment, fighting on top of the Metal Gear, it feels like it's part 1 again. It doesn't feel like it's a rehash.
But
it's
like the fact that they're recycling stories, you're okay with it.
Yeah, because it earns it, man.
Yeah,
it fucking earns it. All the silly shit, all the crazy thing. Like at this point, like I said, if you were a Metal Gear fan, you're sticking through it.
Yeah.
All the crazy nonsense, all of it, you're just like, this is
and that's when you have to like respect the studio, and you have to respect the director too, because there's a lot of things out there that people use that everyone else does, but it's shit on. You know, like for example, one of the biggest, I think in movies, the laser that shoots into the sky. People fucking hate that. Oh, what is this villain gonna do? They're gonna shoot a fucking laser in the sky. Stupid. Amazing Spider-Man, laser in the sky. Everyone's turning into stupid, right? Avenger does it, and they're like, oh, it's so fucking amazing. It's so fucking good, right?
Oh man.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Every Spider-Man is technically the same.
Has to say Mary Jane.
Same thing about Mary Jane getting.
Doesn't want to be Spider-Man, but I guess I'll be Spider-Man again.
Exactly. The pressures of it. Oh my God. You know, the redemption arc at the end or whatever, you know.
No, go ahead.
You know, but we enjoy these movies because they're executed so well. Metal Gear recycles every little fucking thing, but it's also, okay.
Let's also take into consideration, like, at the time with all these action movies coming out, all these video games, like Nathan Drake, you know, with Uncharted, like, oh, he's the fucking hero. He's always there to save the day, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, with Metal Gear Solid 4, you got an old Snake. He doesn't quite have it, but he's still doing his last mission. It's like everything seems to be going against him.
Yeah.
And he's still the fucking hero. Like you said, he's the inferior version of the Snakes, but he still comes out on top.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the game makes you root for someone that isn't a traditional fucking like action hero.
Yeah.
He's not swinging on fucking ropes and doing all this shit.
But that's the difference also, like going back to like pawns, you know, and big boss, fuck it, I'm a pawn. I'm going to walk away. He knows he's a pawn, you know, and he's still, you know.
He sees a reason to live on. He sees a reason for humanity to live on, too. Yeah, which is like we talked about on 3, like how Snake is like, he kind of inherits the title of Big Boss. He doesn't want to, you know, like the cycle continues type of thing.
And the crazy thing, too, is he was, again, the inferior clone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solidus. He was the president of the United States.
Oh, for fuck's sake, that's true, right? Come on, man.
And I think one of the reasons why he goes bad is because he was like salty about losing. Patriots kicked him out of the office. But anyways, he was the great clone. He was the perfected clone.
Yep.
Solid Snake, who you think is not, or who you think is the perfect soldier, is not.
It's not. Yeah.
But he's still fighting and he's still doing the greater good.
God, man, it's so fucking good. Yeah, and it feels like this is the closing chapter to the series.
Yeah.
It feels like this is the end. And for a minute, it does feel like that. Like, I think Hideo Kojima was like, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
this is it. I put my seal of approval here, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And then we get, like, after Metal Gear Solid 4 is done, the next thing that comes out is Metal Gear Rising.
Fuck Raiden.
Have you played it?
I played 5 minutes of it, and I was like, it's Button Smasher. I don't want to play it. It's not Metal Gear.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm disappointed in you.
Hey, question though. When they released the Part 2 Master Collection, do you think it's going to be on there?
It is actually going to be on there. It's been leaked that it's going to be on there. So, fuck Raiden who, Josh?
Are you sure?
What?
Are you
no, I'm
sure?
not kidding. It's going to be remastered in it. It's been leaked. It's going to be Rising, Peace Walker, and 4. Yeah, not Twin Snakes, obviously.
Peace Walker has like a huge fan base, does it not?
It has like a cult following.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of it either,
But yeah, no. Metal Gear Rising is getting a remaster, so I don't suck on that, Josh.
it was a lazy game. It's up there with the Drake series.
Lazy game? Okay, look, I'll give you that it is a button smasher, but it's a well done fucking button smasher. Okay, I'll compare it to like
God of War.
No, not God
Lazy.
of War. No, I'm gonna compare it to food, obviously. Okay, because what do you do when you go out and you buy fucking some greasy ass pizza? You know it's not good for you. You know you probably shouldn't have it, but you're eating it and it's fucking good. And you're gonna feel like bad after you're done eating. But like that's how Metal Gear Rising is.
So stop there.
What do you mean
Stop there.
No,
Like-
continue there.
No. Because I quote, I'm gonna eat it, I'm gonna enjoy it,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna regret it afterwards.
You didn't let me finish, Josh.
Right? I'm gonna play Metal Gear Rising,
You didn't let me finish.
and I'm gonna regret it afterwards.
You're not
Go
gonna
ahead.
fucking regret it. You aren't gonna regret it, okay? It has a wacky ass fucking story, but boy, the fucking combat. Have you played a Platinum game? The developers, Platinum Games. Have you played their games?
Mm-mm.
Then you haven't lived, Josh. Okay? Bayonetta, Vanquish, Metal Gear Rising, Astral Chain. The list goes on. These guys are known for making good character action games. Sometimes even better than something like Devil May Cry. Like, these guys are top fucking tier. And there's a reason why Konami hired them to do Metal Gear Rising, because they're the only ones that can do right and justice and actually give them that redemption arc that he was meant to have.
The fact
Okay.
that he didn't want to have any part of it shows that he probably didn't like the character as well.
Or maybe he was making 5. I don't know. Maybe that was the reason why, Josh.
I don't even think he wanted to make 5.
No, he didn't want to, but he did.
But I doubt it. I doubt he was making 5. They're like,
I think at
you
the time-
go- I don't want anything to do with Raiden. Go, eh.
I think Hideo Kojima was also working on Castlevania Lords of Shadow, wasn't he? So that explains that, Josh.
Better things to do than making Rising. That's all that's all.
I'll tell
That's
you,
all.
I think Rising is really good.
No, I have no opinion on it. I really don't. Just like Metal Gear 5, I'll just say it as of right now. I prematurely hated on these games, probably earlier than I should. But I am playing through it, and I will be playing those games. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, when we do a second retrospect on Metal Gear Solid.
I remember on E3 when they announced Rising, Hideo showed up, and it was just a brief demo of it, and it was different than what it is with Platinum. I think it was gonna be like espionage, like with Raiden and shit. And I think he probably worked on something else, because after that it was a completely different game. But I enjoyed it. It's
Is it espionage?
in the
No.
beginning, if you look it up, I think it was kind of like an espionage, but I think once Platinum got their hands on it, they completely changed it. But I enjoyed it too.
And that would make sense, actually, like seeing him in Metal Gear 4 and what he was doing to those Metal
Yeah.
Gears and stuff like that. Like, you
Yeah.
don't want a character like that to be espionage. It doesn't
Well,
make
because
sense.
clearly he was
Yeah.
rejected as that in Metal Gear Solid 2. They're like, we don't want him to fucking, like, give him his own genre of fucking game. But, like, dude, come on, the title. Rising Revengeance is what it's called. How can you not look at that and be like, Revengeance is not a real fucking word, I don't think, in the dictionary, but this is like such a cool fucking title, and it lives up to it, dude.
You fight Metal Gear?
You fight like hundreds of them, dude.
Really?
Yeah, it's so wild, batshit fucking crazy. You're not supposed to take it seriously. So much so that like you do have codec calls kind of where you're talking to people and shit. And at one point they're like, "Oh, try not to get detected, go and like stealth and shit." It's a fucking joke, dude. Like you'll stealth kill like one like little Metal Gear or whatever, and you'll just immediately get caught. You even get the little like alert sound and everything, and it's like the game is telling you we're not doing sneaking. You're not supposed to fucking do that. Just go out and kill all these things. Like it does feel mindless, but it feels so fucking like satisfying. Like I can't put my finger on why it's so good.
Is it like one of those games that makes you feel powerful as you play it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely like a power fantasy, you know?
Yeah.
The second level, oh my god. The second level of the game, you're like in Mexico, right? And you got a poncho on. And you got a fucking huge ass sombrero, and like,
what the fuck?
Raiden is playing it like so straight. I think he goes in under the tunnel because like he's supposed to like infiltrate the tunnels and shit. Someone sees him and he just like gives him the fucking tip with a hat and then he goes down. It's like so not serious. Like you can just play it with that sombrero on the entire fucking level, and it's like what the fuck is going on? I think you can use a cardboard box too, right? A cardboard box.
What the
So it clearly like it pokes fun like at the other Metal Gear games, but like it also pays homage to it in a lot of ways, you know.
Do they talk about Snake?
Not once, I don't think.
Ugh.
No. Which I think is fine, because if this is Raiden's story, would you want any mention of that?
Should there not be like mention, like just a slight like
the way that Metal Gear Solid 4 ended? Do you think you'd want more about Solid?
So
Snake,
going back to Metal Gear 4, would the story have been worse or better if he died? He actually died in the game.
Snake?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I kind of go both. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Because aren't you kind of curious, like where he went, like what happened, like what he did?
That's like asking, are you curious about what happened to John Wick after 4? It's like,
you know he died. Shut the fuck up.
But
spoilers. Sorry.
But do you want to see more of John Wick after that?
No.
So why would you want to know more about
But
Snake
you know he
and
died.
Rising?
There's no point, right? I'm just curious, right? Like,
okay. Yeah.
You know.
To me, it doesn't like matter because if the way it ended was great, but if he was gonna, I don't know. I don't think that was the proper way for him to do it. So, but if there was an alternate ending or whatever, maybe I'd be okay with it. But the way it ended was great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm asking. Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like to me, it felt like a like you said, John Wick in a way. Like it's open to just in case we make another Metal Gear, let's say he's still alive, type of thing. Back to Metal Gear Rising though, it's like it's kind of like an anime in a way, because if I remember, like before he fights, he does his little I think he has like a little speech. I don't know how it goes. I'm playing it right now, but he names himself Jack the Ripper all the time. Let it rip. Like that's fucking cool, dude. It's just
cool, but it's also corny.
Yeah, but in a good way. Right? Like he said, it's like if you're so into like the like those type of animes where it's just batshit crazy and like. Yeah.
No, is it? No, you fight a fucking senator or something like that. He's like super fucking buff and shit like that, and it's such a ridiculously hard.
I think I saw a
fight.
clip of that, and I was like, how do I fucking take this serious?
And that's the point. Like from minute one, you're just like as soon as you get the controller in your hands and you're fighting, you're just like, okay, like I'm not supposed to take it seriously. Like this is not going to be.
That was my problem. Because the thing what's so great about the Metal Gear games is they're fucking serious.
I feel like it's 50-50.
There
is,
definitely is
yeah.
some scenes where you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
you're whole-
but
yeah.
but it's not like trying to be,
Yeah.
you know, like like I don't know. I guess I'm not explaining this right, but like, I guess it's not over the top, is what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
You know, like in the way they're acting and things like that.
Mhm.
Actually, it is kind of over the top, but I feel like it's more cartoony, I guess.
Yeah,
Metal Gear
that's a
Rising?
that's a
That's
good
what
way
I'm
to
trying
put
to
it.
say,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is cartoony for sure. Yeah, because I mean, there is some pretty heavy themes in that game, going back to like 2, where you were talking about like with the kids and stuff like that and all that. Like that comes back in Rising again too, right? Like they're harvesting fucking children and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
And it becomes a personal fucking thing for Raiden too. So there is like some heavy themes like underneath it, but it's like,
Yeah.
dude, you're wearing a fucking sombrero and you're just fighting all these fucking people and shit. Yeah, it's so well done, man. And you can beat it in like in 4 or 5 hours. It's not a long fucking game.
Interesting.
So you can breeze through it. You'll have a good fucking time. I recommend it. I think there's a reason why it might. Who, Raiden?
Yeah, you remember that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Just the mask, though, right?
No, his whole character. You don't remember that?
We might have to look this up. We're gonna go on another intermission.
Free DLC. You can play
Really? I didn't know that, dude. We'll check it when we're done. I'll hold you to that. No, yeah, but so briefly touching on Rising, that was, I think, a really fun game. There was an appetizer leading to 5, which, I mean, all right, let's get into 5.
Fuck Kiefer Sutherland.
Every time we talk about a game, Josh is like, fuck Raiden, fuck either Sutherland, fuck Resident Evil. But let's get into 5, because I think 5 is like, didn't need to happen, right? It didn't need to be made.
So
but it did.
you'd say it was forced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree it's forced. But it's funny because the gameplay part of Metal Gear Solid 5 is quite good. Like,
Yeah.
it felt like Kojima was like, I already did all the tactical espionage shit. Like, let me just do open world now. Like, do whatever the fuck, do whatever you
Yeah.
want, guys. Like, I'm not gonna do a structure-based thing. Like, just go out and fucking just deal with shit the way you want to, and it works. You know, for the gameplay part of Metal Gear Solid 5, I think that is where it becomes a more unique Metal Gear game.
Yeah.
You know, if 4 was more cinematic, and 3 was all about survival, and 2 was about, well, it's kind of like 1, right? 5 was just like, here's the sandbox. Now you really can tackle any
Well,
situation.
and
the way you
don't
want.
forget they released it on 2 discs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the prologue was actually a game of itself.
Yep. Ground Zeroes.
Yeah, and then they came out with Phantom Pain, the second part, or you can just get them together. Is what I have. Yeah. So I wonder if that was whose idea was that? Was that a Konami?
That was definitely a Konami thing.
Yeah.
That was them operating at their most fucking like greediest corporate, you know, like they just wanted to make fucking money.
And it was still
everything.
expensive.
Yeah.
Everyone who bought Ground Zero first was a fucking moron because that was sorry, because it was
But
fucking.
didn't you buy it?
I waited for the.
Oh, you waited for okay.
Yeah, I waited for
You
it.
made
and
the
then
smart decision. That's what you did.
Yeah, I paid $60 for it, and I've never played it. I only played the first part, so I'm actually the dumbest. But
But we're I think fans they don't give a fuck.
No, they
Like
don't.
they'd buy it, you know, like we said in the beginning of the episode. Yeah, but no, 5 was divisive for kind of disrupting the canon of the game, kind of adding things.
Well,
and
we learned
you know,
Venom Snake
that's right.
isn't actually the NES Metal Gear 1. That's who he kills,
I feel like that's
thinking that it was Big Boss.
That was like the only thing that came out of 5 was like Venom Snake. He was actually Big Boss.
You know what's funny is
Yeah.
probably that's not even true, and they were just like,
like a theory.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's what we did.
I mean, you've played 5. What did you take away from it? Did you think it was necessary, like a necessary sequel? Because I feel like 4 ended it. Like, I think that, to me, in my head, that's the end of the Metal Gear series.
Damn. Okay, that was a good question.
Is it necessary, do you think?
You are wearing that.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're wearing the Boss t-shirt, so I have to assume...
That's the Venom one.
She's not even wearing Big Boss.
Look,
What the fuck?
after figuring out, I'm not so into the story, like some
Of
other
5?
like the whole history of it,
Oh, okay.
So going into it and this, got the ending and like you're not the
Big Boss.
I was like, to me, I was like, what was the whole point? Right?
That's how I felt from minute 1. Dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I just feel like I don't.
But at the same time, it's kind of like a genius thing that Hideo Kojima did. Like we talked about in the last episode how he hinted it in the trailers.
Mhm.
Like the characters would look at you like, is he okay? And da 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 da. It's like,
Yeah.
and once you finish the story, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
And stuff. Yeah.
So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what it.
Yeah, me too. It was.
But once it reveals what it is, like it's not the real big boss. It's just a imposter because the other one's doing another
an
Outer
inferior
Haven
version of Big Boss.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that theory that we just saw, I don't know, kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like a decisive.
Yeah, I think with Metal Gear Solid 5, and again, like how we said at the top of the episode,
Mm-hmm.
we're not experts. I'm sure there's other people out there who can tell you why Phantom Pain was necessary or why it's a masterpiece or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I just feel like besides the open world structure and how you can approach situations, it felt like, this may seem like a hot take, I think 5, in terms of a gameplay perspective, is the ultimate Metal Gear game.
No,
How you approach situations, like I was telling Josh, you can like watch the guard patrols and all this shit, and you can go covert or you can go during the day. It's like,
So, feedback I got from a friend of mine, never played any of the Metal Gear games. He only played Phantom Pain, and I asked him about it. I was like, how is it? And he's like, gameplay's awesome. It's one of the best gameplays I've ever played.
Yeah.
Like, how's the story? Gameplay's awesome.
like you just forgot, ignored.
He's
the
like, you should
question.
play it because the gameplay's just so fucking good. I'm like,
Yeah,
when I play a Metal Gear game, I don't play for just the gameplay.
you play it for the story.
You play for the fucking story too. That's what makes Metal Gear so
Yeah.
great. And I think that's what kind of turned me off on it as well. Is you play for both. You genuinely really do. And
Well, even though it's not, how can I say? I don't know. I can't explain it, but the story is I don't want to say great, but it's a good story. You don't know?
Like I played it and finished it. Obviously, like it's been a while, but there's nothing like memorable about 5. Like, you think of 1, you immediately have like an iconic scene that comes to mind. 2, 3, even 2. Like,
yeah, even 2.
Even
I
2.
agree with that.
5, not really, man. Like, there's not really any scene in 5.
Sorry. Like, okay, you said memorable scenes, right?
That happens in a cutscene. Not something that happens while you're in the helicopter. Not something that happens during gameplay. We're talking about a cutscene. Yeah, like a memorable cutscene.
Oh, I thought you said no cutscenes. You motherfucker. I think I got some. Okay. I got this one's not a cutscene. It's during gameplay.
I just said a cutscene and you said not a cutscene.
Asshole. I'm getting to the point.
Okay.
Is towards the end. I forgot how it goes down, but you meet. I think his name Skullface, right? I think that's his name. And he takes you to to the Metal Gear they're making. I don't know what it's called, but it's a whole fucking long ass drive, and he's explaining to you like the reasoning and all this shit. And I remember like I was sitting there like, this is kind of cool. Like you're face to face with the fucking bad guy that you've been fucking like from the beginning, and he just explaining to you, chill, like fucking like just like.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that was kind of cool. I forget how it went down, like I said, but I remember that. Like I think it was towards the end where your base gets infected with the parasite, where the soldiers lose their voice, I think, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all quarantined in this section of the outer base or whatever.
Outer Heaven.
Outer Heaven, and Big Boss or Venom Snake. Asked, I think you get an option. I don't. It's in a while, but that he goes in there and he kills his soldiers because there's no cure or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's a cool. I don't know if it's again. Fuck, I can't. But it's that whole scene when he's leaving. You know, the bloodshed and all these soldiers. Like there's a transition, like when he's walking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like. How can I explain it? First you see him normal, and like he's keep walking. Then you see him with blood in his face, and it keeps like changing, like who he is, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, but it's Venom Snake, so I don't give a fuck about Venom Snake.
Oh, fuck
if
you,
it was
bro.
Big Boss, it would be fucking
That's what I'm
impactful,
saying.
dude.
Can you say fuck Venom Snake for me?
Yeah, fuck Venom Snake.
I think what the problem, well, I guess to justify why they did it, yeah, you can say they're like trying to milk it and all this stuff, but I feel like the universe of Metal Gear is just so fucking huge that there's so much story to tell.
Yeah.
You know, like we've told the story of Solid Snake, but there's so much story to tell about Big Boss.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
Well, this felt like the footnotes to me. Like this wasn't like worthy of a book. It was more like a chapter, I just couldn't. I couldn't like, especially when you get the reveal that like, because Josh just said it like, oh, there's more stories to tell about Big Boss. This is not fucking Big Boss though.
Well, and they have a history of this. Again, they've done this before.
Yeah.
It was called Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty.
Yeah.
So Metal Gear Solid 5 is a bait and switch.
A bait and switch, yeah.
That's what I was telling you. Like after 3, we don't get to see Big Boss anymore. So like you said, there's a lot of stories to do that. The only story we get is Peacemaker. That's it. Peace Walker, whatever it is. But that's it. We don't get like supposedly he's, like I said, doing Outer Haven. It would be great to see that. What the fuck? Why we didn't get that story? We get you play this imposter or whatever. That's what I said. Like after 3, we don't get to know him.
So that's why I feel like the strongest part, and I even feel like maybe Kojima thought that too. It's like, I don't got no story left to tell, man. So let me focus on the thing that I've been not focusing on as much as the gameplay. Like, let's refine that.
Or maybe there was a lot of story to tell, and they do have stuff in the back burner. And
Maybe.
Kojima was like, I feel like I'm just stuck.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he might have backed himself in a corner.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like we are shitting on 5 a lot, but trust me, like the gameplay is like, it is fucking good. Like I was telling Josh earlier, like I said, like the way that you can tackle any mission in this game is so creative. You can fucking there's these things like Fulton things where you can like balloon things up into the fucking air and send them back to Mother Base and shit. You can do that to like a truck, and in midair you shoot it and it falls down and it hits like a fucking guard, and it's like it's so super creative. Like you can throw a magazine at someone's face and it knocks them out, or use a decoy and they'll be like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like there's just the possibilities endless, dude.
But
5. Yeah, you can rocket punch someone with your fucking arm and it detaches and shit.
But let's also talk about David Hayter, the absence of David
Yeah.
Hayter.
Yeah.
You're
Keep it
telling
solid.
me that obviously you have two snakes. You know, you have Big Boss and you have Venom Snake. You can't have David Hayter play Big Boss
Yeah, I know, man.
and Kiefer Sutherland play the actual main character.
And look, this is coming from the perspective of fans, right? Like, we don't know what if David Hayter is like, oh, I'm fine with it. I gave it my blessing or whatever. But like to us, dude, David Hayter is what made fucking Metal Gear. He's just the biggest pillar, a pillar of the series as Kojima is.
Yeah.
You know, so to have him be absent in 5, and for the excuse to be like, oh, we wanted someone that would look more like a rugged big boss and emote more, and it's like, come on, dude, you got David Hayter, man.
Yeah. Have
I
somebody
don't
else
know,
do the
is it-
mocap, and he can do the voice.
Yeah, and
There's
they
other ways around it.
Dude, they did a similar thing with Splinter Cell, the last Splinter Cell game. They didn't have the voice actor who voiced Sam Fisher. They had someone else do it. And even though he did a solid enough job, like, dude, when you play Splinter Cell and you hear Sam Fisher, like, that's why you play those Splinter Cell games. You take that out of the equation, no matter how good your game is, it's not going to be the same.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So 5, I feel like, the story's kind of lacking. Gameplay's fantastic. But yeah, it's missing that. There's a phantom pain. There's missing David Hayter, dude.
Oof. I see what you did there.
Yeah. I don't know. 5 will always be sort of the black sheep, I think, of the series, wit's.
I call it like a what if, like in the comic books. It's just a nice
Yeah.
little addition, but it's not, you know.
Yeah, I
you don't
agree.
have to play it, but it's a.
Oh shit! You know what? I'm totally wrong. It's not Peace Walker that's on the. No, it is Peace. No. It's not Peace Walker. It's Rising, 4, and 5 that are coming out in the remastered collection. Yeah, 5. The game that you can play right now, that's as good as it gets in terms of resolution. That's what they're remastering is 5
On one disc?
on one disc, dude.
That's pretty huge.
Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. But look, we've exhausted so much talking about Metal Gear Solid. My brain feels scattered at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like we got all our points across, though. But any closing thoughts on the Metal Gear Solid series? Josh, do you have anything else to say? Or
Fuck Raiden.
when did this
Fuck
become...
Keith Sutherland.
This becomes like a fuck Raiden, like... You started off great talking about Metal Gear, but as soon as you got to 2, Josh, you were just like...
I just finished that game. Fresh in my mind. So frustrating playing that guy holding his crotch while he was naked. No, arguably one of the greatest series of all time, if not the greatest series of all time.
Yeah.
I would say. Iconic, start to finish. I'm playing it right now. I'm gonna finish all of them in the next 30 days, and my wife's gonna probably leave me.
But at least you would have finished the Metal Gear games. And is
Yep.
that really worth it at the end, Josh?
It'll be worth it because I'll be losing that PS5, and as long as I finish all those games, I'll be done. If I were to, and I want to ask you guys this, I hate to drag this on, but where do you rank the games? Where do you rank
Okay.
the Metal
that's it.
Gear series?
So for me, 3 will be at number 1. Solid at number 2. 4 at number 3. 2 at number 4. And then 5 at number 5. And then if I were to put Rising, then it'd probably be like above Phantom Pain, and then Phantom Pain at the bottom for me. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that would be my ranking. 3 at the top. What about you?
4. Then 2. No, 4. Sorry. 1, 3, then 2. Then Phantom Pain. Yeah.
You've even Phantom Pain, huh? Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna rank Rising. I'm not gonna rank Phantom Pain. Sorry.
That's fine.
I think that's fair. I think that's
That is fair. That is fair.
But like you, 3, 1, 4, and 2.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's.
But I think that's tough too because like, do I want to put one Metal Gear Solid 1? Kind of do, but it's hard.
Like at the top, you're saying?
Yeah, just because it's just so. If there was no Metal Gear Solid, there would be no Metal Gear Solid 3
Or 2
or
any of
2.
those, yeah.
You
Or to be honest, if you want to really go deeper, like without Metal Gear Solid, dude, we wouldn't have The Last of Us. We wouldn't have all these like cinematic games.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have Splinter Cell. Like there's a reason why this game is as iconic as it is and continues to be iconic.
Can you think of another PlayStation game that did voice acting during that time?
Dude, none come to mind. And if it did, it's Resident Evil, and we all know how that voice acting turned out. Not that
That's
great.
true. Actually, there was voice acting on that.
So
and the standing up, walking in a circle, robot walk.
You always have to bring that part up about Resident Evil, Josh. Like, you can't think of anything like more iconic than the tank controls.
That is the bad acting, bad voice acting, and the bad movement.
All right,
100%. Those are iconic. And to be honest with you, Metal Gear came out at the same time, and the controls are fucking on par, baby.
I have to agree. I do have to agree. I'll have to give you
and the voice acting is fucking good.
Yeah. I guess what we're saying here is Metal Gear Solid is a fucking fantastic series. No matter what remakes they put out, to be honest, we're all gonna play it because that's how big fans we are.
Absolutely.
We'll put down that $70 to fucking play the.
It'll probably be $80.
Most likely be $80. Yeah, let's be honest.
And I will buy it.
Yep. But I hope if there's anything that people can take away from this, like I said, obviously we're not experts at breaking this down. This is just our opinion. I know we missed out on talking like Metal Gear Acid or Metal Gear like Peace Walker and shit like that. We didn't talk about the other like more lesser known games. We're sorry, but this
not
is
really.
This is what we grew up on. This is what we played. But the one thing I think you guys should take away from this is like, man, if you haven't played it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, it's like if you want to be a filmmaker, you gotta watch The Godfather type of thing. If you want to be a game developer, if you want to get into the world of games, you gotta play the Metal Gear games.
Well said.
Yeah, because dude, we just talked about how solid no pun intended, how it still holds up. Like Metal Gear Solid 1. Like, come on. So if there's anything to take away from, if you haven't played the games, sorry we spoiled it for you, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't not play it. Go out and play it. It's still fantastic. Thank you, Josh, for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun talking about Metal Gear Solid. We'll probably do this for another series or for another like franchise. Again, please like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with your Metal Gear fans. Review us on Apple Podcasts. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how to do it. Follow us on Instagram. It's called Two Bros, and it has been Two Brothers.
And friend?
We'll see you on the next mission, guys.